Chapter 427. After entering the main hall, Yang Dingtian's passionate face immediately turned serious. Big brother, close the door, Yang Dingtian said. Immediately, the main hall's door was closed, blocking Yinyan's hopeful gaze and Qin Zhaojiao's uneasy gaze. What exactly happened? Yang Dingtian asked as he walked to the city lord's golden throne. Reporting to the city lord, the southwest mainland has been completely pacified. Sky Phoenix Pavilion's army was completely annihilated. Pavilion Master Duan Rian and all the Sky Phoenix Pavilion's main combat faction experts were either killed or captured. Lung Yinmei returned as the new Sky Phoenix Pavilion Master and started a massacre, killing all of Duan Rian's direct subordinates. Jiao Liao knelt down and said sorrowfully. She looked a little weak, but there were 2 unhealed scars on her face. Yang Dingtian's eyes twitched. How can that be? Pavilion Master Duan Rian is an advanced master, not far from becoming a martial grandmaster. Moreover, there are 2 or 3 martial grandmasters among the Sky Phoenix Pavilion's elders. When the city lord sent me to Sky Phoenix Pavilion, it was when Qin Chichi's attack on Sky Phoenix Pavilion was at its fiercest. Thus when I arrived, I immediately joined the battle, Jiao Liao said. The poison that the city lord gave me was extremely shocking. It directly killed nearly 10,000 people in Qin Chichi's army. Then, Pavilion Master Duan personally led dozens of martial honorable experts and charged into Qin Chichi's South Continent city to execute the decapitation operation. She planned to kill Qin Chichi and Ning Wuming directly. And then, Yang Dingtian asked. Pavilion Master Duan did not succeed. Snake Tail Jiao said. Because Qin Chichi and Ning Wuming in the South region's Lord Chengzhu residence were only substitutes. However, the 3 martial grandmasters by Qin Chichi's side were all killed. Moreover, at this time, Qin Chichi's army was poisoned and 10,000 people died. Then, Sky Phoenix Pavilion's army of 10,000 people took the opportunity to counterattack and defeated Qin Chichi's army, killing 20 to 30,000 people. At this point, Qin Chichi's army of 100,000 people died. Hearing this, although everyone knew that there were unforeseen events, they still felt refreshed. At that time, all of us thought that the outcome was already decided. Pavilion Master Duan Rian even joked with me that maybe we don't need to fight the war in Cloud Sky City anymore. We can just finish it in the southwest continent. She even said that you owe her a huge favor, Snake Tail said. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but think of Duan Rian's appearance. She was really a very special woman. Unrivaled beauty was almost everything to many women, but to her, it was the most insignificant thing. Her personality, willpower, carefreeness, integrity, and straightforwardness were all incomparably dazzling existences. That was why the overlord of a generation, Qin Wanchou, could not forget her and viewed her as the only woman he had ever loved in his life. And then, Yang Dingtian asked. After witnessing Pavilion Master Duan's great victory, the powers in the southwest continent began to waver. They abandoned Qin Chichi and turned to Pavilion Master Duan's side. The Southwest Alliance army, led by the Sky Phoenix Pavilion, had a total of 70 to 80,000 men, which was even more than Qin Chichi's army. So at that time, all of us thought that the outcome was already decided, Jiao Liao said. At that time, Qin Chichi's army had already begun to flee in large numbers. Then, Pavilion Master Duan decided to launch an all-out attack on South Continent City on the 15th of a month ago to eliminate Qin Chichi's army. And then, Yang Dingtian asked. The Southwest Alliance army, led by Pavilion Master Duan, was like a hot knife through butter. They directly invaded South Continent City and killed their way to Qin Chichi's residence, Jiao Liao said. At that time, I was at the front line beside Pavilion Master Duan. Suddenly, Jiao Liao's beautiful face turned pale, and her delicate body trembled. Even though it had been a few dozen days, she still felt a sense of fear. Then, an army of only 3,000 men surged out of Qin Chichi's residence. They were wearing snow-white armor and black cloaks. Their entire faces were hidden in the cloaks, only revealing their eyes. Every pair of eyes had blood-red pupils. Even though they were very far away, there was still a terrifying cold aura coming from them. Jiao Liao continued. Then, this army of 3,000 men annihilated the 70 to 80,000 Alliance army, led by Pavilion Master Duan within 4 hours. Pavilion Master Duan led all the experts, and decided to ignore the battle, and directly kill Qin Chichi and Ning Wuming. At that time, 10 people appeared beside Qin Chichi and Ning Wuming. In just 15 minutes, they killed the 100 experts led by Pavilion Master Duan Ruyan. Pavilion Master Duan was the only one left. He was knocked unconscious and captured. As soon as she said that, the entire place turned icy cold. What were the cultivation levels of those 10 people? Yang Dingtian asked. All of them were Grandmaster or above, Jiao Liao said. 9 of them were wearing purple robes. One of them was completely hidden in black armor. His face and eyes were hidden. It was as if he wasn't a real person. This person had been following Qin Chichi closely. This person was at the Grandmaster level. Pavilion Master Duan Ruyan was defeated by him. Instantly, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. 9 Grandmasters and 1 Grandmaster. These 9 purple-robed Grandmasters should be from the Ning clan of the South Sea. They are the most loyal subordinates of the evil demon Prince Li Ming. Yang Dingtian said. The Grandmaster-level expert that Qin Chichi brought from Qin City should have been killed by Pavilion Master Duan Ruyan. That, I should know about the Grandmaster-level expert. Qin Huayu said. City Lord Yang. Do you still remember that day when you went to rescue Pavilion Master Duan Ruyan? In our Qin City's dungeon, there was a Grandmaster-level dungeon under the Grandmaster-level dungeon? I remember. I was very shocked that day. There was actually a Grandmaster-level prisoner in Qin City, Yang Dingtian said. I don't know who that Grandmaster-level prisoner was, Qin Huayu said. You should also remember that my father once led a team to fight a demon spirit. After paying a huge price, he finally got a 1,000-year-old demon spirit. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, What does your father plan to do with this demon spirit? I didn't know before, but now I can guess. Qin Huayu said bitterly, It's to create a Grandmaster-level battle puppet demon. His goal is the same as ours, to create a battle puppet demon with the heart of a demon spirit. Father didn't tell me about this secret. This battle puppet demon has already been created, and father gave it to Qin Chichi. When he said these words, Qin Huayu's expression became even more bitter. Yang Dingtian's heart also sank. This meant that Qin Wancho had already chosen his side. He actually gave the Grandmaster-level battle puppet demon to Qin Chichi. Qin Huayu's chances weren't high, and Yang Dingtian's chances weren't high either. Taking a deep breath, Yang Dingtian asked, Qin Chichi's Special Blood Eye Army, 3,000 people annihilated 80,000 people? Yes, Jiao Liao said. The 80,000 people of the Southwest Alliance Army had almost no ability to resist. It was like slaughtering chickens and dogs. This army of 3,000 people had invincible weapons, invulnerable armor, fearless of death, as if they didn't know pain, and pressed forward courageously. Moreover, each of them had a cultivation of high-level martial mystic level or above. 3,000 people formed a neat formation, like a complete killing machine. Suddenly, the air in the main hall suddenly turned cold. This army was undoubtedly a secret army from the evil ways. Yang Dingtian knew better than anyone how terrifying this army was. Invincible weapons, invulnerable armor, were already extremely terrifying. The most important thing was that there was no emotion, no fear, 3,000 people as one. How many martial mystic level experts could a Grandmaster level expert kill? At most, it shouldn't exceed 300 before their mystic chi was completely exhausted. Therefore, even in this world of powerful martial arts, an elite army still had great significance. A Grandmaster-level expert was extremely powerful, but if he didn't use poison, he could only kill a few thousand people with his own cultivation. Then, what if it was an army of 100,000 or a few 100,000? And then? Yang Dingtian asked. Then I was taken captive, Jiao Liao said. But Qin Chichi let me go, saying that you wouldn't be able to come back. She said to let. Jiao Liao couldn't continue. Go on. Yang Dingtian said. She said to let Madame Yin Yin and Madame Shimen bathe, and wait for her husband Ning Wuming. Jiao Liao said. Suddenly, the entire main hall was filled with anger. And then, Yang Dingtian continued to ask. Then I saw Leng Yanmei appear. Originally, Pavilion Master Duan Ruyan had completely severed her mystic meridians, but when she appeared again, not only did her cultivation recover, but her strength also skyrocketed, and she became a high-level grandmaster. Jiao Liao said. Then, she carried out a bloody purge in Sky Phoenix Pavilion. There were more than 10,000 disciples in Sky Phoenix Pavilion, and more than half of them were killed. Among them, the most beautiful ones were all crippled of their martial arts, and sent to a mysterious place as female slaves to various major forces. Qin Chichi's upper echelons were also used to humiliate them. Boom! Yang Dingtian's body was abruptly ignited with fury. Yang Dingtian suddenly stood up and wrote on the pillar with his sword. I swear to kill Qin Chichi. Then he looked at the crowd and said, Everyone, I once spared Qin Ji's life. But now, please remember this and remind me in the future. No matter what difficulties Qin Chichi has, no matter what changes she makes, I will definitely kill her. I will definitely put her to death in front of tens of thousands of people, and cut her into 1,000 pieces. If I violate this oath, I will be like this beast. After saying that, Yang Dingtian aimed at a golden lion in front of him and slashed it down. In an instant, the golden lion was completely smashed into pieces. Yes, everyone shouted. Yang Dingtian took in a deep breath and suppressed his anger that soared to the sky. He asked, That world meeting, that Northwest Qin City also said that they want to suppress us. What's going on? Let me explain this matter. Wooden Sword Castle's Li Guanong said. Last month, 5 days after the war in the southwest, as the leader of the Taiando League's northwest branch, Leng Yanmei convened a meeting of the Taiando League. The meeting was about the disappearance of the future leader of the Taiando League and the future headmaster of Yinyang School, Dongfeng Bingling. At this point, Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. Then Li Guanong narrated the matter. The Yinyang School's northwest branch reported that they had completely lost contact with Dongfeng Bingling for several months. They suspected that Dongfeng Bingling had met with some mishap, so they requested the Taiando League's northwest branch to help investigate. Later, someone reported to the Taiando League's northwest branch, saying that they had seen Dongfeng Bingling with a strange man, and that she was heavily injured. Later, they found out that this strange man had left Cloud Sky City on a winged mount. Therefore, they suspected that this strange man was related to Yang Dingtian. Therefore, they suspected that Dongfeng Bingling's disappearance was related to Yang Dingtian. Li Guanong said. Therefore, at that time, the Taiando League's Northwest Branch's meeting, the topic of discussion was whether or not to take coercive measures against City Lord Yang Dingtian. They asked whether or not Dongfeng Bingling's disappearance was related to City Lord Yang Dingtian. But later, someone directly showed the Taiando League's Northwest Branch something. It was a recording jade. On the screen, Miss Dongfeng Bingling was covered in blood. She was lying beside a man on the verge of death, and this man was undressing her. The man on the screen was you. Therefore, they said that you used despicable means to kill Miss Dongfeng Bingling and humiliated her. Previously, Leng Yanmei proposed to expel Cloud Sky City from the Taiando League and gather the Northwest Taiando League's army to suppress Cloud Sky City. However, she didn't get any approval. But after Leng Yanmei showed this evidence, the Taiando League's Northwest Branch completely passed this resolution. Expel Cloud Sky City from the Taiando League, and the Taiando League's Northwest Branch gradually joined forces to suppress the Taiando League. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's heart was completely shaken. It was no wonder there were rumors that the Northwest Qin City and the World Society were going to send a crusade. The Divine Weapons Manor, Sky Phoenix Pavilion, Autumn Watersword Sect, White Cloud City, and all the other Heaven Dao Union factions in the Western world were going to send a crusade against Cloud Heaven City. Yang Dingtian closed his eyes and began to recall. That's right, there was such a scene. However, Yang Dingtian and Dongfeng Bingling escaped from Sky Demon City. At that time, Yang Dingtian and Yi Qianqian were being chased by the 4 elders of the Ning clan of the South Sea. Dongfeng Bingling tried to save Yang Dingtian, but her sea of energy shattered. She was covered in blood and on the verge of death. In the Valley of Sky Demon City, young Dingtian took off her clothes and checked her injuries. But he didn't expect that this scene would also fall into the eyes of the evil ways. They even recorded it with the recording jade as evidence. I also saw the recording on the recording jade, Li Guanong said. In fact, it looked more like you were saving Miss Dongfang Bingling instead of hurting her. However, the annihilation of the Sky Phoenix Pavilion scared everyone out of their wits, so this decision was passed. Of course, I objected, so I was also seen as an accomplice of Cloud Sky City. Lung Yanmei has already reported to the Yinyang School and the Black Heaven sect. They also want to remove the Wooden Sword Castle from the list. They also suggested that the Ning clan of the South Sea should replace them and become a member of the Tiando League. When he said this, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but laugh coldly. There was nothing more ridiculous in this world than this. The evil ways were actually going to join the Tiando League. Then, is the matter of Cloud Sky City being expelled from the Tiando League completely settled? Yang Dingtian asked. Not yet, Li Guanong said. The Tiando League Northwest Branch doesn't have the authority to kick a member out of the Tiando League. Only the headquarters of the Tiando League has this authority. Therefore, they have already reported to the headquarters of the Eastern Cloud State Tiando League. In about 2 months, they will have a discussion. At that time, whether or not Cloud Sky City will be expelled will depend on the results of this discussion. But the Northwest Tiando League's Crusade Army will still attack Cloud Sky City? Yang Dingtian asked. Yes, Li Guanong said. The Tiando League Northwest Branch has discussed the crusade on the 20th of next month. There are still 25 days until today. How many troops will the other party send? Yang Dingtian asked. In the meeting, only the Autumn Water Sword sect will send 10,000 troops. The Ning clan of the South Sea will send 50,000 troops. The Northwest Qin City will send 80,000 troops. The White Cloud City will send 20,000 troops. The West Continent City will send 20,000 troops. The 20,000 Wind Sword sect will send 20,000 troops. Li Guanong said. The rest of the forces, such as the World Society and the Divine Weapons Villa, are actually just observing. They only symbolically said that they will send troops. They haven't made a final decision. As Li Guanong said these numbers, the atmosphere in the main hall became more and more solemn. As of now, the number of troops in this alliance army was more than 200,000. The situation had really changed. In the future, the Crusade army wouldn't be Qin Chi-Chi's 100,000 troops, but an alliance army of 200,000. Qin Chi-Chi was more powerful than expected. Of course, she wouldn't need such a large force to destroy a mere Cloud Sky City. She and Ning Wuming were using the opportunity to destroy Cloud Sky City, and Yang Dingtian, to force the forces in the Western world to stand on the side of the evil ways. Evil ways had really become smarter. They didn't directly start a war to destroy the world and sweep up tens of millions of troops to sweep the world. They had also learned to use the mask of justice. They actually used the name of the Tiando League to destroy the leader of the Tiando League. There was no other ridiculous thing in the world that could be compared to this. Qin Chi-Chi and Ning Wuming were so powerful that the Temple of Annihilation would definitely have a whole new level of respect for them. In the Tiando League Northwest Conference, did the Qin City Lord and the World Society Lord personally participate? Yang Dingtian asked. No, Li Guanong said. Qin City sent the sect Lord's wife as a representative. The World Society sent Song Minghua as a representative. Song Minghua was Song Chuanhua's younger brother. In the World Society, he was considered one of the more outstanding disciples. He wasn't as foppish as Song Chuanhua's other younger brothers, but his talent wasn't top-notch. Then there's still a chance, Yang Dingtian said. Especially the World Society. Yang Dingtian sat back on the golden throne and said, Our situation looks very hopeless and scary. But in reality, it's not that scary. Because the ones who really want to kill us are only Qin Chi-Chi, Ning Wuming, and the other evil ways. The rest of them are all sitting on the fence. When Yang Dingtian said this, everyone in the Cloud Sky City's Elders Guild was shocked. Their eyes lit up as they waited for Yang Dingtian to continue. To be honest, the enormous pressure they had been under recently had almost made them collapse. That kind of hopeless atmosphere, that feeling of being betrayed by everyone and being the enemy of the whole world, really made them feel hopeless. Even Madame Shimin felt that there was no hope of winning. Now Yang Dingtian actually said that they had a high chance of winning. In the next 25 days, we will be divided into two factions. Yang Dingtian said. One is the invisible political battlefield. The other one is the tangible one, the punitive army in 25 days. The most important one is the invisible political battlefield. As long as we win the political war, we will have a higher chance of winning the tangible war. Yang Dingtian said loudly. To be honest, what 200,000 allied troops, what 10 grandmasters and 1 great grandmaster by Qin Chichi's side, and what 3,000 blood pupil army, I don't really care about that. Qin Chichi's side has 9 grandmasters, so do we, Yang Dingtian said loudly. Of course we have 5, 6 or even more. Qin Chichi's side has 1 great grandmaster, so do we, Yang Dingtian said loudly. As for their so-called army, 50,000? 100,000? Yang Dingtian sneered and said, I don't put them in my eyes. I can tell everyone clearly that we have an incomparably huge strength in our hands. It doesn't matter if they come with 100,000 or 200,000 men. We will annihilate their entire army. Their army can even touch the borders of Cloud Sky City. Shimin Lai, don't you think so? Have you prepared the things I asked you to prepare? Everything is ready, Shimin Lai said. How's the power? Yang Dingtian asked. Earth-shattering, Shimin Lai said. Yang Dingtian said. So, the most important thing for us is the political battlefield. We have to completely defeat Qin Chichi and the Ning clan of the South Sea. We have to expose their evil nature. We have to make all the factions on the fence stand on our side. We have to turn ourselves into the righteous side and our enemies into the evil side. We have to increase the number of our comrades. Evil ways will have no place in the Western world. This is the foundation of this war. Then, the key to this political war lies in 2 points, Yang Dingtian said loudly. First, the world society. We have to pull the world society to our side. Second, the Northwest Qin City. We have to push Qin Huayu to the position of Qin City's young lord and completely kill Qin Chichi. Sect leader Qin Wancho has no choice. As long as the world society and the Northwest Qin City are united, the entire Western world will be completely united. The other small demons and ghosts won't be able to cause any waves. When Yang Dingtian said this, everyone was instantly excited. Like a gust of wind, the darkness in front of them was blown away. Chunhua, make some preparations. Qin Huayu and I will immediately accompany you to the world society, Yang Dingtian said. This matter should not be delayed. Only by taking care of the world society can we take care of the Northwest Qin City. Yes, Song Chunhua bowed. City Lord, Mu Lianqing said. According to our intelligence, the Metal Sword Fortress and Shimanju are holding a meeting and are planning to revolt. The meeting will be held tonight. That's great. Yang Dingtian laughed and said. To resist foreign aggression, we must first pacify our internal affairs. I was just worried that I wouldn't have the chance to eliminate these useless people. Tonight, we will make a trip to the Metal Sword Fortress and start a massacre. We will wipe out all the feudal vassals in the Cloud Heaven City territory. Yes, I will immediately prepare the troops, Shimin Lai said. No need, Yang Dingtian said. Just the few of us will be enough to wipe them out. Yang Dingtian looked at Qin Huayu and said, Senior brother Qin, let's prepare to kill tonight. That would be great. I have been holding it in for the past few months. Qin Huayu sneered. All right, let's eat. After eating, we will set off immediately, Yang Dingtian said. Right at this moment, someone suddenly shouted from outside. Reporting to the city lord, the Mystic Heaven Sect's young lord, Zhu Hongxue, is here to visit. Chapter 428. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but frown. He didn't expect Zhu Hongxue to come. Of course, he might have been near Cloud Sky City all along, waiting for Yang Dingtian to appear. Even though his impression of Zhu Hongxue had changed greatly, Yang Dingtian still had a headache dealing with such a person. People like Zhu Hongxue were characterized by extreme pride and stubbornness. He came without a doubt because of Dongfang Bingling. On this point, Yang Dingtian had completely touched his reverse scale. Therefore, Yang Dingtian wasn't surprised at all by Zhu Hongshua's reaction. However, even if it was a headache, he still had to meet him. In the next 1 or 2 months, the Taekwondo League headquarters would discuss whether or not to expel Cloud Sky City. Regarding this, Black Sky sect in Yinyang School's attitude was the most important. Of course, Zhu Qingzhu was already part of the evil ways, but Zhu Hongxue wasn't. Therefore, Zhu Hongshua's attitude was especially important. Yang Dingtian stood up and was about to personally welcome Zhu Hongxue. Boom! At this moment, a loud sound was heard. The door of the main hall was blown to pieces. Zhu Hongxue stood outside with a cold expression on his extremely handsome face. In the square, countless Cloud Sky City disciples gathered around and looked at Zhu Hongshue's back. Some of them were angry, but most of them were weak and looked up to him. Zhu Hongxue came to smash the door and slap their faces, but the Cloud Sky City disciples were still afraid and looked up to him. Yang Dingtian's heart was filled with sorrow and anger. All along, the Cloud Sky City disciples had always felt inferior in front of these famous sections. This was because Cloud Sky City had always been eyeing Yinyang School's rebellious reputation. Even though it was in the Taekwondo League, it didn't have a place in the 3 sects, 9 clans and 27 branches. No matter where they went, they couldn't raise their heads when they met disciples from famous sections. Not to mention, in front of them was the famous genius, Zhu Hongxue, who was as famous as Dongfang Bingling. Therefore, Zhu Hongxue came to slap their faces. The first reaction of the disciples of Cloud Sky City was not anger or questioning, but fear and uneasiness. It was as if they had really done something shameful. Yang Dingtian, come here. Zhu Hongxue said coldly. I don't want to kill you in front of so many Cloud Sky City disciples. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian almost exploded with anger. He knew that Zhu Hongxue was annoying, but he didn't expect it to be to this extent. That kind of high and mighty attitude, as if calling for cats and dogs. This was not the Black Heaven sect. This was Cloud Sky City. Before Yang Dingtian could say anything, Song Chunhua was enraged. She drew her sword and was about to step forward to fight. Yang Dingtian gently pulled Song Chunhua to the side. He walked up to Zhu Hongxue and said indifferently, Zhu Hongxue, if you're here to discuss matters, then speak properly. Otherwise, scram. How dare you talk to me like that? You are courting death. Zhu Hongshue's face turned cold. When he said the last 2 words, there was a sudden gust of wind. The dust on the ground flew up, and the hall was like thunder. Outside, the thousands of Cloud Sky City disciples instinctively retreated. It wasn't that they were afraid of death, but they were instinctively afraid of Zhu Hongxue and felt inferior. In their eyes, Zhu Hongxue was the youth leader of the Taekwondo League. He even held the fate of Cloud Sky City in his hands. Of course, that was the truth. As for Cloud Sky City's position in the Taekwondo League, it was indeed up to people like Zhu Hongxue and Dongfang Bingling to decide. Therefore, during Yang Dingtian's ascension ceremony, Dongfang Bingling only appeared for a short while. All of Qin Huayu's actions, as well as those of Cloud Sky City's opposition, were silenced. They didn't dare to act rashly. This wouldn't do. The disciples of Cloud Sky City were too inferior. If this continued, they wouldn't be able to withstand the terrifying battle that was coming. Before the battle even started, their hearts would already collapse. They had to be given a spiritual sustenance, a powerful spiritual idol. Of course, this spiritual idol could only be Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian slowly took a few steps forward. He looked at Zhu Hongxue and said, I'll give you 2 choices. First, speak nicely. Put away your arrogance, and don't appear to be so uncultured. Second, you and I have a good fight. Since you're uncultured, I'll help you educate yourself. Then we can have a good talk. Yang Dingtian's words resounded throughout the entire Cloud Sky City. All of the Cloud Sky City disciples were shocked. Their city lord actually dared to speak to Zhu Hongxue like that. This was a complete humiliation. He was scolding Zhu Hongxue for being uncultured. So Yang Dingtian wanted to discipline him on behalf of his father. Instantly, Zhu Hongxue was enraged. Bitch, you're courting death. His shout was like thunder. Then, a flame suddenly emerged from his body, burning fiercely. In an instant, the entire square was filled with a murderous aura. Originally, I didn't want to humiliate you in front of everyone in Cloud Sky City. Who knew that a bitch like you would speak such arrogant words? You're completely seeking your own death. Zhu Hongxue roared. Then, he flew up into the air and pointed his sword at Yang Dingtian. Come out. In front of all the Cloud Sky City disciples, I'll tear you into pieces. I'll let everyone see clearly that there are some people that you can't offend. Yang Dingtian pulled out his sword and flew out of the main hall. He was 100 meters away from Zhu Hongxue. Floating in the air, he looked at Zhu Hongxue and said coldly, "Your brain is really damaged. If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't be able to wake up for the rest of your life. Shut up. Don't provoke me into killing you and taking my anger out on others." Zhu Hongxue roared. Trash like you doesn't have the qualifications to fight with me. Today, I'm giving you too much credit for fighting with me. If I can't kill you in one move, it'll be a disgrace to me. Kill me in one move. Yang Dingtian laughed loudly. Zhu Hongxue, you'll regret what you said for the rest of your life. Then, I also swear that if I can't defeat you in 3 moves, you can do whatever you want to me. Ha ha ha. Zhu Hongxue was so angry that he burst into laughter. He only felt that this world was incomparably ridiculous. There was actually an ant that said that he could defeat him in 3 moves. Yang Dingtian, you took advantage of the opportunity to obtain the position of Cloud Sky City's lord. You've become so arrogant that you've lost your sense of measure. Zhu Hongxue laughed loudly. If you want to destroy someone, you have to make them crazy first. If it weren't for Bing Ling, you wouldn't even have the qualifications to talk to me, let alone fight with me. You despicable opportunist. Do you know that if you fight with me, even if you die, it'll be enough for your name to spread throughout the world? Now, you actually dare to say that you can defeat me. In the younger generation of the world, other than Bing Ling, no one is my opponent. Even the dead Shiman Wuya wouldn't dare to say that you can defeat me in 3 moves. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but be speechless. This Zhu Hongxue was actually arrogant to such an extent? Shiman Wuya's absolute strength was someone who surpassed his father, Zhu Qingzhu. It could be said that in today's world, other than the mysterious Wolingzi, no one was Shiman Wuya's opponent. Judging from Zhu Hongxue's tone, he actually didn't even think highly of Shiman Wuya. Instantly, Yang Dingtian looked at Zhu Hongxue quietly and said indifferently, "Come, make your move and kill me instantly. It's time for you, this proud son of heaven, to wake up." Zhu Hongxue's gaze focused. He held the soul sword in his hand, condensed his celestial qi, and condensed his celestial fire. Boom! The raging flames instantly rose by several feet. Zhu Hongxue's sharp sword and his entire person were burning fiercely. He was already extremely handsome, and was listed as the most handsome man in the world. At this moment, he was even more like a god of war descending. The eyes of all the Cloud Sky City disciples were filled with fear, admiration, and incomparable worry. They didn't think that Yang Dingtian would be Zhu Hongxue's opponent at all. Although their city lord had created countless miracles, he was at most a beginner-level martial honorable. It was impossible for him to be Zhu Hongxue's opponent. He didn't even have the qualifications to fight. Although they stood on Yang Dingtian's side, they completely agreed with Zhu Hongxue's words. Even their hearts were deeply pierced by it. The highest leader of Cloud Sky City, their leader, was actually only a beginner-level martial honorable. In the past, they could still use Yang Dingtian's young age to hypnotize themselves. However, Zhu Hongxue's appearance directly pierced through the weakest part of their hearts. Their city lord was so weak and Cloud Sky City was in such a critical situation. Could Yang Dingtian lead Cloud Sky City to become stronger? Or not to mention becoming stronger, could Yang Dingtian protect Cloud Sky City? The answer was a complete no. No matter how talented Yang Dingtian was, he was still a martial honorable. No one would wait for him to become stronger. To an ordinary person, a martial honorable was already strong enough. However, to a leader of a sect, there was nothing weaker than this. In an instant, the hearts of the Cloud Sky City disciples became even more inferior and weak. The morale that Yang Dingtian's heroic words had previously boosted was like a soap bubble that had burst. The mysterious flame of Zhu Hongshua's soul sword had already burned to the extreme. Yang Dingtian, this is a peerless soul sword. This is a heaven and earth level mysterious flame. To be able to die under my sword is enough for you to live in glory for the rest of your life. Zhu Hongxue shouted, and slashed out with the sharp sword in his hand. Boom! There was no mysterious technique or any fancy moves. It was just the most direct sword radiance that was mixed with the energy of the mysterious flame. However, it was already earth-shattering enough to blind everyone. This sword radiance was like lightning that tore the sky apart. It was like a ray of light that shot down from the ninth heaven. In an instant, it streaked across the sky a few thousand meters above the square of Cloud Sky City. It completely blocked out the brilliance of the sun and illuminated the sky above Cloud Sky City. The people in the square were unable to see anything. Then this earth-shattering sword radiance suddenly shot towards Yang Dingtian. Almost instantly, Yang Dingtian's body was completely swallowed up. In an instant, all the disciples in the square of Cloud Sky City closed their eyes. Their hearts were filled with despair, and they did not dare to look anymore. This was because there was only one ending in their hearts. Their governor's body was smashed into pieces and turned into ashes. After slashing out the sword radiance, Zhu Hongxue kept his sword and stood there without looking. He glanced at the densely packed crowd on the ground, as if he was looking at ants. He said disdainfully, "From now on, there will be no more Yang Dingtian in this world." After saying this, Zhu Hongxue turned around and was about to leave. "Zhu Hongxue, your high and mighty face is truly disgusting." Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's casual voice echoed in everyone's ears. In an instant, everyone was shocked and looked up into the sky in disbelief. Their governor actually did not die. Their governor actually did not die under Zhu Hongshue's earth-shattering attack. One must know that their governor was only a beginner revered martial artist, while Zhu Hongxue was infinitely close to becoming a martial scholar. After hearing Yang Dingtian's words, Zhu Hongxue suddenly trembled and turned around in disbelief. The radiance gradually dimmed and Yang Dingtian was still floating in the air. Not to mention being seriously injured, he was completely unharmed. How is this possible? Zhu Hongxue hissed, "Impossible. How could you not die from my attack? What kind of treasure did you get this time?" Previously, Yang Dingtian thought that under Zhu Hongshue's arrogance, he had a righteous character and was worth roping in as an ally. Now, Yang Dingtian began to doubt this point, because, although this person had a prideful character, he was too arrogant and could not tolerate others being stronger than him. In the entire world, he only had Dongfang Bingling in his eyes. If others were stronger than him, then they must have obtained some treasure through despicable means, and definitely not through their own strength. "You are really hopeless," Yang Dingtian said lightly. "Now it's my turn." "Is that a peerless soul sword?" Yang Dingtian said lightly. "Mine is also a soul sword. Every strand of it was personally forged by me. As for its grade, I don't know. I can only tell you that if there is an emperor-grade soul sword in the world, it is mine." Yang Dingtian held the soul sword in his hand. Suddenly, his soul sword shot out rays of light. Powerful golden and noble rays of light burst out of the entire Cloud Sky City square. This light was almost exactly the same as the sun. It was as if the sun was shining on the entire Cloud Sky City. Countless Cloud Sky City disciples were mesmerized by this ray of light. They looked up at Cloud Sky City in the sky, and suddenly felt an urge to worship it. "You said the heaven and earth obsidian flame?" Yang Dingtian said lightly. "Your obsidian flame is called the thunderous flame, right? It is ranked 8th among the 9 obsidian flames in the world." Yang Dingtian stretched out his left hand. Suddenly, a flame floated to his palm. It was beautiful and mysterious. Even the light of the soul sword could not suppress it. "Didn't anyone tell you that my obsidian flame is also a heaven and earth obsidian flame? The million spirit demon flame is ranked 6th in the world. Or is it because your brain and eyes can't tolerate anything else?" Yang Dingtian said lightly. Looking at the million spirit demon flame in Yang Dingtian's palm, Zhu Hongshue's face started to twitch. The moment he obtained the great thunderous flame, his confidence had swelled immeasurably. He knew that there were other heaven and earth obsidian flames, But he felt that these obsidian flames were either waiting for him to collect them, or only people like Dongfang Bingling would have them. A lowly person like Yang Dingtian had a heaven and earth obsidian flame? What a joke! A heaven and earth obsidian flame would choose its owner. How could a person like Yang Dingtian be worthy of it? Then, Yang Dingtian grasped the soul sword in his right hand. Whoosh! Suddenly, an even more beautiful flame with constantly changing colors emerged from the soul sword. Not only do I have a heaven and earth obsidian flame, but I also have more than one, Yang Dingtian said lightly. This one is called the Demon Spirit Demon Flame. It is also a heaven and earth obsidian flame. It is ranked 4th among the 9 flames in the world. Zhu Hongxue, put away your arrogant face, Yang Dingtian said lightly. Not only am I the Lord of Cloud Heaven City, but I am also the successor of the Yinyang school. I am the only successor of Dongfang Minmi. In terms of status and background, I am not inferior to you at all. And for a man, the most important thing is ideals and strength. Ideals, I will talk to you later. Now I want to talk to you about strength. Yang Dingtian said lightly. Previously, I said that I would defeat you in 3 moves. Now I regret my words. I take them back. When Yang Dingtian said this, everyone's expression changed slightly. I have changed my words. You are worse than I thought. Yang Dingtian said. Then, I will change my words. I will defeat you in 1 move. If I can't do it, then I will be at your mercy. When these words came out, everyone in Cloud Heaven City was shocked. Defeat Zhu Hongxue in 1 move? Oh my god. How could it be? Zhu Hongxue was infinitely close to becoming a master. If their city lord could defeat Zhu Hongxue in 1 move, how powerful would that be? Zhu Hongxue was already shocked by the fact that Yang Dingtian had 2 obsidian flames. He was already going crazy, and was on the verge of collapsing. At this moment, he heard Yang Dingtian say that he would defeat him in 1 move. Instantly, his fighting spirit soared to the heavens. Yang Dingtian, I don't know what despicable means you used to obtain 2 obsidian flames. Just like how you used Bing Ling's identity to obtain many things that you shouldn't have. But now, you are saying that you will defeat me in 1 move. This is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Zhu Hongxue laughed and said, don't even mention 1 move. Even if it's 10 or 100 moves, you can forget about defeating me. Then, I will also swear that as long as you can defeat me, I will be at your mercy right here in Cloud Heaven City's plaza. Yang Dingtian looked at him and said indifferently, I won't kill you or cut you. If I say that I will defeat you in 1 move, then I will do it in 1 move. If I can do it, I will ask you to take back your face, pick up your manners, and listen to me properly. Can you do that? Shut up. Defeat me first. Zhu Hongxue said furiously. All right, Yang Dingtian said indifferently. Your thunderous flame is invulnerable. My Xian techniques are inferior. Then, you will use your thunderous shield to the maximum. I don't want to have an unfair advantage. Zhu Hongxue was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Boom! Suddenly, a flame soared into the sky and completely enveloped Zhu Hongxue's body. Then, a golden light shield suddenly lit up and enveloped Zhu Hongxue's entire body. Zhu Hongxue knew that this thunderous shield couldn't block lightning attribute Xian techniques. But he didn't think that lightning attribute Xian techniques could defeat him in an instant. Yang Dingtian, I know that a speculator like you still has lightning attribute Xian talismans. But if you want to defeat me with mere lightning attribute energy, you are dreaming. Zhu Hongxue sneered. Don't worry, I won't use lightning attribute Xian techniques. Yang Dingtian said. Yes, if you don't use lightning attribute Xian techniques, you want to break my thunderous shield? Dream on. Zhu Hongxue said. You should speak less. The more you speak, the more you will lose face. Yang Dingtian said indifferently. Are you ready? Bring it on. Zhu Hongxue sneered. If I am defeated by you, I will let you kill me. Remember your words. Yang Dingtian said indifferently. Whoosh! Yang Dingtian opened his left hand. Immediately, the Devil Spirit Fiend Flame's ice-sealing energy shot out. At the same time, Yang Dingtian's right hand's soul sword suddenly slashed. A golden sword aura shot out. Everyone on the ground was shocked and looked up at the sky. Chapter 429. Zhu Hongxue had absolute confidence in his thunderous dark fire shield. Apart from the lightning element, it could withstand all kinds of energy damage, including the dark fire. Therefore, so what if Yang Dingtian displayed two heaven and earth mystic flames? He still could not break through his thunderous shield. Moreover, Zhu Hongxue did not think that Yang Dingtian had the so-called lightning element talent. Even if he did, it would be from the dark talisman of the lightning element. It was impossible for him to defeat Zhu Hongxue with that little bit of lightning energy. It could be said that Zhu Hongxue had slightly awakened from his rage and shock. He felt that although Yang Dingtian had somehow obtained two heaven and earth dark fires, there was still a huge gap between him and Zhu Hongxue in terms of cultivation. Zhu Hongxue calmed down even more after he thought this through. Although the dark fire was important to a person's strength, cultivation was more important. If Yang Dingtian wanted to defeat Zhu Hongxue, he would have to surpass Zhu Hongxue in terms of cultivation. It was absolutely impossible for Zhu Hongxue to do so. In his mind, Yang Dingtian might have some talent, and had obtained some treasures by luck. Therefore, he might have broken through a lot in just a few years. For example, he might have broken through dozens of levels because of the Yin-Yang festival. However, this kind of luck would end at the martial revered level. It would be a battle of talent and wisdom if one went beyond that. Therefore, it was impossible for Zhu Hongxue to think that Yang Dingtian's cultivation had reached his level. Yang Dingtian's attack was very fast. It could even be said that it was an understatement. His left hand gently flung out a blue halo. Then, his right hand directly slashed out a golden sword light. Zhu Hongxue saw this and smiled coldly. It was impossible for him to break through Zhu Hongxue's thunderous shield and defeat Zhu Hongxue with this little bit of energy. However, Zhu Hongxue was instantly horrified. Almost instantly, he felt that he could not move at all. His entire body seemed to have been completely frozen and imprisoned. This was because a mysterious blue energy body had sealed him in an instant. All the dark chi stopped. The thunderous fire was extinguished, and the thunderous shield disappeared. At the same time, Yang Dingtian slashed out a golden sword light. Like lightning, it directly hit his chest. Pooh! Fresh blood spurted out. Zhu Hongxue's body was sent flying like a piece of straw. Ah! Everyone cried out in surprise, looking at all this in disbelief. This included Madame Shimen, the other members of Cloud Sky City's Elders Guild, and even Shimen Yinyan and Qin Jiaojiao. Yinyan loved Yang Dingtian the most and had full confidence in him. He knew that Yang Dingtian would never make irresponsible remarks, but in his heart, he absolutely did not dare to believe that Yang Dingtian's cultivation was superior to Zhu Hongxue's. Yinyan was very clear about her husband's cultivation. He was only a beginner martial honorable. He had only left home for 2 months, and at that time, his cultivation progress was already very slow. Therefore, in Yinyan's heart, Yang Dingtian's cultivation was at most a 3-star martial honor. Of course, almost all the members of Cloud Sky City's Elders Guild thought the same. Therefore, although they believed that Yang Dingtian would not make irresponsible remarks, they still did not dare to imagine that Yang Dingtian could defeat Zhu Hongxue in one move. As for the many disciples of Cloud Sky City, when Yang Dingtian received Zhu Hongxue's attack and came out unscathed, their minds had already gone numb. At this moment, they saw that their own city lord had actually defeated Zhu Hongxue in one move. Extreme shock in an instant caused their minds to lose all sense of feeling. It was as if their entire bodies were floating, and they felt that it was completely unreal. Even if it was a dream, even if it was a fantasy, they did not dare to imagine such an outcome. The high and mighty Zhu Hongxue had actually been defeated by City Lord Yang Dingtian in one move. Of course, everyone's shock added together could not compare to Zhu Hongxue's. The moment he was sent flying and spat out blood, it was as if a bomb had directly exploded in Zhu Hongxue's mind. Then his mind went completely blank, and he lost all sense of feeling. In fact, he could not even feel the shock anymore. To Zhu Hongxue, he would rather believe that the world had been destroyed, that the sun rose from the west, than believe that Yang Dingtian could defeat him in one move. Therefore, for a moment, the entire Cloud Sky City square was dead silent. Zhu Hongshua's mind was completely blank. After a full 15 minutes, all his emotions, all his feelings crazily surged into his mind. His world had collapsed, and his mind had collapsed. His extreme pride, his extreme conceit, and his entire worldview. He had almost completely collapsed. Then, almost instinctively, Zhu Hongxue roared. Yang Dingtian, what kind of sorcery did you use? You caused your Bingling's death. What kind of sorcery did you get? Yang Dingtian could not help but be stunned. He really did not expect Zhu Hongxue to have such a reaction. He actually linked it to sorcery. Seeing Yang Dingtian's reaction, Zhu Hongxue seemed to have grasped at a life-saving straw. He roared. Yes, what kind of sorcery did you get? You must have gotten some sorcery. Otherwise, you could not have defeated me. My talent is unparalleled in the world. In just 3 years, you could not have defeated me. Even if the world was turned upside down, it would still be impossible. Then, Zhu Hongxue suddenly jumped up and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His face was distorted as he said, Yang Dingtian, what sorcery did you use? What sorcery did you use? Once these words were spoken, everyone in the Cloud Sky City Square could not help but reveal a strange expression. This was because Zhu Hongxue's defeat was too strange. It was almost inexplicable, and no one could see the entire process. Yang Dingtian defeating Zhu Hongxue in one move, of course. They wanted it to happen even in their dreams. But when it really happened, this feeling was too unreal. Yang Dingtian, what sorcery did you use? Your cultivation is far inferior to mine. What sorcery did you use? Zhu Hongxue said sternly. You must tell me, or else I will let the Tiando League punish you. Yang Dingtian looked at Zhu Hongxue and shook his head lightly. Zhu Hongxue, you really disappoint people. Then, Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and said, All right, I will give you one last chance to be convinced. You and I will not use mystic flames, mystic skills, or anything else. Just a clash of strength, a clash of mystic chi. Do you dare? Dare? Why wouldn't I dare? My cultivation is far superior to yours. Why wouldn't I dare? Zhu Hongxue said loudly. No mystic skills, no mystic flames, just a clash of swords, a clash of mystic chi. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and instantly gathered all the mystic chi in his body. Boom! All the mystic chi in Yang Dingtian's body suddenly exploded. Suddenly, there was a thunderous sound in the air. Then, the sharp sword in his hand suddenly bloomed with a dazzling light. Zhu Hongxue's eyes were scarlet red. He suddenly gathered all the mystic chi in his body. Bang! There was also a loud sound. The mystic chi suddenly exploded. Kill! Kill! The two of them shouted at the same time. Then like meteors they shot out. The two figures directly turned into a stream of light. Because their speed was too fast, they immediately dragged out a long sharp light shadow. They tore through the air and made a whistling sound. In an instant the two figures were like meteors. They fiercely collided. Like Mars colliding with Earth, they fiercely collided. This was the most direct collision. There was no technique, no mystic skills, and no mystic flames. It was purely a clash of strength, speed, mystic chi, and willpower. Boom! There was a loud sound. The sound of two fierce energies colliding. The sound of two swords fiercely colliding. Everyone felt a sharp pain in their ears. Their hearts suddenly jumped, as if their chests were about to split open. Uft! Zhu Hongxue's body fiercely flew out. In the air, he violently spat out a mouthful of blood. Yang Dingtian, on the other hand, only trembled slightly. There was no reaction at all. Zhu Hongxue was defeated again. He was completely defeated. Of course, Yang Dingtian had a reaction. Blood rolled over his chest. The mystic meridians in his body seemed to be broken inch by inch. His internal organs seemed to have been displaced. There was a sweet taste in his throat. He almost spat out a mouthful of blood. However, he forced it back and swallowed it. It was not that he cared about his face. He wanted to completely subdue Zhu Hongxue, because he really wanted to win Zhu Hongxue over. That was why he agreed to have such a naked mystic chi fight with him. Otherwise, Yang Dingtian's trump card was much stronger than Zhu Hongxue's. If he fought with Yang Dingtian directly, he would be at a disadvantage. Yang Dingtian's sea of chi cultivation was at the level of a 2-star grandmaster. However, because he did not learn the fourth stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship, he could only display the standard of a 9-star 9th grade revered martial artist. This level of mystic qi was exactly the same as Zhu Hongshue's. Therefore, Yang Dingtian did not have much of an advantage in a direct mystic qi fight. Of course, Yang Dingtian still won in the end. Zhu Hongxue was still defeated, because Yang Dingtian's soul sword had an almost heaven-defying mystic qi boost. Also, because Yang Dingtian had 9 young mystic meridians, and had been modified by Naga's mystic meridians, his resistance to attacks was higher than Zhu Hongshue's. Therefore, Zhu Hongxue was sent flying, and spat out a mouthful of blood. Because of these reasons, although the two of them had the same cultivation, one won and one lost. Moreover, because Yang Dingtian endured the immense pain, the situation seemed to be one-sided. After a long while, Yang Dingtian suppressed the blood in his chest and dared to speak. Otherwise, he would have spat out blood the moment he opened his mouth. Zhu Hongxue, that was a naked mystic qi fight, right? What else do you have to say? Do you admit defeat? Yang Dingtian said coldly. At this moment, Zhu Hongshue's face was pale. His entire face was filled with bewilderment. His pupils were almost unfocused. After hearing Yang Dingtian's words, he spat out another mouthful of blood. He raised the sword in his hand with a blank face. Then, he realized that a hole had appeared on the soul sword that he was so proud of. His indestructible soul sword, actually had a crack. Yang Dingtian's soul sword had actually slashed out a crack. At this moment, he had no reason to lie to himself. Yang Dingtian did not use any demonic techniques. He had directly used mystic qi to fight. He had also lost, because a reality had appeared in front of him. Yang Dingtian's cultivation had surpassed his. His cultivation was a 9-star 9th grade revered martial artist. He was only half a step away from Grandmaster, and Yang Dingtian had easily defeated him. That meant that his cultivation had definitely broken through to Grandmaster. Dongfang Bingling had broken through to Grandmaster. Zhu Hongxue would only feel proud and honored, because he had long regarded Dongfang Bingling as his destined wife. The stronger Dongfang Bingling was, the happier he was, because he had conquered the most beautiful and powerful woman in the world. Yang Dingtian was his rival in love. Of course, Zhu Hongxue did not think so. He thought that the gap between him and Yang Dingtian was like heaven and earth, just like a toad and a swan. He had never put Yang Dingtian in his eyes. He could crush Yang Dingtian to death with just a finger. Now this ant was actually stronger than him. He had a better mystic fire than him. He had more mystic fire than him. He had a better sword than him. Even his cultivation was stronger than him. That meant that his talent and mystic meridians were stronger than him. To Zhu Hongxue, this was completely earth-shattering. His pride had completely collapsed. His view of the world had completely collapsed. Moreover, Yang Dingtian had only been practicing martial arts for 3 years. He was only 22 years old this year. He was much younger than him. Zhu Hongxue, are you convinced now? Yang Dingtian asked coldly. Zhu Hongxue looked up at Yang Dingtian in a daze. The other party's voice seemed to ring in his heart, but also seemed to ring out from beyond the 9 heavens. Am I not that outstanding at all? Zhu Hongxue opened his mouth and muttered to himself. Am I very ordinary to begin with? It's just that everyone is trying to coax me because of my identity? Am I completely useless? Am I not worthy of Bingling at all? Then what's the point of living? Yang Dingtian, you don't have to do it. I'll do it myself. Zhu Hongxue kept muttering to himself. Then he suddenly raised his hand and struck his chest. He committed suicide in front of everyone. No. Yang Dingtian was horrified. He really didn't think that Zhu Hongxue would commit suicide in front of everyone. He thought that he would continue to quibble, continue to hypnotize, and continue to frame him. He didn't think that he would directly commit suicide. With the fastest speed, Yang Dingtian suddenly released the Devil Spirit Fiend Flames Icebound technique. However, Yang Dingtian was still a step slower. Because his profound veins were severely injured, the Devil Spirit Fiend Flames Icebound technique became slower and weaker. Zhu Hongxue's palm struck his own chest. Everyone clearly saw that his chest suddenly caved in, and then a mouthful of blood spurted out. Ah! Everyone let out a cry of surprise. But in the end, Yang Dingtian still used the icebound technique to freeze all of his movements and profound veins when he hit his chest. Then, Yang Dingtian quickly rushed over, took out 2 sacred water pills, and directly stuffed them into Zhu Hongshue's mouth. Then, he sat cross-legged behind Zhu Hongxue and desperately poured in his profound qi to circulate the medicinal power. Chunhua, quickly come over and move us into the room, Yang Dingtian said. Yes, Song Chunhua said. Then, she flew over and moved Yang Dingtian into the building. All disciples of Cloud Sky City, your performance just now disappointed me, Yang Dingtian said coldly as he healed Zhu Hongxue. All of you kneel down. Suddenly, all the disciples in the plaza trembled, and then knelt down in an orderly manner. All of you kneel like this. Think carefully about what you did wrong just now. Yang Dingtian said coldly. Wait, I will come over and ask. If you don't know what you did wrong, then kneel for me forever. Yes, the few thousand people in the plaza answered in unison, and knelt on the ground in an orderly manner. Song Chunhua moved Yang Dingtian and entered the building. Qin Huayu and the rest also followed in. The door of the building was closed. The plaza outside was completely silent. The few thousand people were kneeling in an orderly manner to reflect. Yang Dingtian crazily channeled celestial qi into Zhu Hongshue's body, urging his extremely weak vitality to circulate. This crazy Zhu Hongxue had not only shattered all of his ribs, he had also shattered his own heart. Luckily, Yang Dingtian used the ice seal technique to freeze him. Otherwise, his heart and internal organs would have turned into a pile of mush, and he would have died a long time ago. But even so, he was only a hair's breadth away from death. In other words, if Yang Dingtian hadn't given him the sacred water elixir at the first moment, he would have died long ago. He was actually so resolute in committing suicide. Of course, even if Yang Dingtian tried his best to save him, Zhu Hongxue was still lingering on the edge of death and could die at any time. That vitality was really weak to the extreme. At this moment, his entire body's functions had completely stopped. Therefore, the flow of vitality was completely dependent on Yang Dingtian's celestial qi. At this moment, Yang Dingtian was about to race against Zhu Hongshue's death god. If he could outrun him, he could let the sacred water elixir's medicinal power gradually recover his body's organs. If he couldn't outrun him, Zhu Hongxue would undoubtedly die. Time flew by quickly. 15 minutes. 30 minutes. 1 hour. 2 hours. Yang Dingtian's face became paler and paler, and his body trembled more and more. His celestial qi was already exhausted. Originally, his celestial meridians were already damaged from Zhu Hongshue's last attack. At this moment, he didn't have a large amount of celestial qi to heal Zhu Hongshue's injuries. Qin Huayu, come to my back and inject celestial qi. My celestial qi is exhausted, Yang Dingtian said. Just as he finished speaking, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Immediately, the celestial qi circulating in Zhu Hongshue's body stopped. Almost at the same time, Zhu Hongshue's body trembled, and he was about to die in an instant. Yang Dingtian used all his strength to inject the last of his celestial qi. Yes. Qin Huayu flew over quickly and placed his palm on Yang Dingtian's back, injecting thick celestial qi. Why didn't he let Qin Huayu directly inject celestial qi into Zhu Hongxue? Because his celestial qi had impurities. If it directly entered Zhu Hongshue's body, Zhu Hongxue might not be able to withstand it. His celestial meridians weren't as strong as Yang Dingtian's. After passing through Yang Dingtian's body, he could use the yin-yang qi transformation technique to turn it into pure celestial qi. Qin Huayu was a master stage expert. Another 2 hours passed. 3 hours. Qin Huayu's celestial qi was completely exhausted. However, Zhu Hongxue still couldn't be saved, and he was still hovering on the edge of death. Chunhua, you take over, Yang Dingtian said. Qin Huayu, take the profound gathering pill and recover your celestial qi as quickly as possible. Yes, Qin Huayu said. Song Chunhua quickly sat behind Yang Dingtian and placed his palm on Yang Dingtian's back, injecting celestial qi. Qin Huayu took the opportunity to leave Yang Dingtian's back. then took a profound gathering pill, and sat cross-legged to quickly condense celestial qi. City Lord Yang, can you save him? Song Chunhua asked. I don't know. It's a race against death, Yang Dingtian said. If we still can't save him after exhausting all of our celestial qi, then he can't be saved. Even if we can't save him, he's courting death. Zhu Qingzhu can't blame us, Song Chunhua said. I didn't save him because of Zhu Qingzhu. I saved him because of Zhu Hongxue, Yang Dingtian said. We didn't misjudge him. Although he's extremely conceited, he's still upright. If he can become our comrade, our chances of winning will be much higher. His martial arts talent is much higher than yours and Qin Huayu's. He and Bingling are almost the only two 9th-grade celestial vein geniuses. Yes, Song Chunhua said. Then we'll do our best. Song Chunhua's cultivation was a 2-star master stage expert, so she lasted longer than Qin Huayu. However, she only lasted for 4 hours. Zhu Hongxue still couldn't be saved. Qin Huayu, you take over. I'll go recover my celestial qi, Song Chunhua said. Okay, Qin Huayu said. Then, he immediately placed his palm on Yang Dingtian's back and transferred his celestial qi. Song Chunhua quickly moved to the side and swallowed a mystic gathering pill, desperately absorbing celestial qi. A full 10 hours later, Yang Dingtian had almost given up hope. Qin Huayu and Song Chunhua had already taken 2 mystic gathering pills, which had already damaged their celestial veins. Suddenly, the vitality in Zhu Hongxue's body stopped and began to circulate on its own. His life was saved. His life was finally saved. Yang Dingtian and the other 2 had almost used all of their strength to save his life. Yang Dingtian's heart relaxed, and he removed his palm from Zhu Hongxue's back. Pfft. He couldn't help but spit a mouthful of blood on the back of Zhu Hongxue's neck. Zhu Hongxue's body suddenly trembled, as if he had been woken up by Yang Dingtian's hot blood. He opened his eyes. Then he didn't say anything. He just sat there quietly, as if he had lost his reaction to everything. Yang Dingtian gently wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and struggled to stand up. He came to the chair and sat down. He looked at Zhu Hongxue and said, Now are you quiet? Zhu Hongxue nodded slightly. It's good that you're quiet. I can tell you what I want to say next. Yang Dingtian said indifferently. You're here to ask me about Bing Ling, right? Zhu Hongxue nodded. You're also very curious as to why I saved you, right? Yang Dingtian asked. Zhu Hongxue still nodded. I'll answer your second question first, then I'll answer your first question, okay? Yang Dingtian said. Zhu Hongxue still nodded. The reason why I saved you is not because I'm afraid of your father, but because of something that happened before, which made me recognize you again. I hated you before, but after that incident, I have some admiration for you. So I saved you because I admire your arrogance, but your upright and prideful character. Of course, there's also your almost unparalleled talent. I want to be your comrade in arms in life and death. I want you to become the pillar that saves the world. Yang Dingtian said indifferently. I want to fulfill your true pride and fulfill your immortal life. I want to one day, when I'm in battle, I can leave my back to you without hesitation and entrust my life and death to you. Suddenly, Qin Huayu's body shook violently. He looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. Chapter 430. What about Bing Ling? Zhu Hongxue asked after a long time. Yang Dingtian was silent for a moment, then said, Before I answer your question, can I answer one of yours first? Okay, Zhu Hongxue said. In your heart, is Bing Ling more important, or is the Tiando League more important? Yang Dingtian asked. What do you mean? Zhu Hongxue asked. You don't have to know what I mean, just answer me. Yang Dingtian said. Zhu Hongxue fell into deep thought, then said, Bing Ling is more important. Instantly, Yang Dingtian was stunned, and so were the others. Yang Dingtian asked in disbelief. If you were to make a choice, one is Bing Ling's death, the other is evil ways completely destroying the world. Which would you choose? Zhu Hongxue was silent for a moment, then said, Evil ways should completely destroy the world. Instantly, Yang Dingtian was even more shocked. This Zhu Hongxue was not only conceited, But he was also an extreme romantic. But if evil ways took over the world, where would Bing Ling and you be safe? Yang Dingtian said. The world is so big, where can't I go? Evil ways can't control every inch of land. Zhu Hongxue said. Yang Dingtian saw that he was being so negative, and couldn't help but be angry. Zhu Hongxue, where are your ambitions? You're the youth leader of the Tiando League, the idol of the world, and the future leader of the Black Heaven sect. Where's your pride? Zhu Hongxue said. In the past, I might have been the leader of the world's youth, the idol of the world. But after the battle with you, I've become a disgrace. Wherever I go, I can't raise my head. What's the point of talking about pride and ambition? Yang Dingtian was speechless. Previously, he thought that in order to convince Zhu Hongxue, he had to hurt him. Otherwise, he would be too arrogant and conceited. He had to completely destroy his pride in order to subdue him. Who would have thought that he would actually walk to the other extreme? He actually went from extreme conceit and pride to extreme depression. He even wished he could change his appearance and never appear in front of the world again. Sigh. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but sigh. Perhaps Zhu Qingzhu had protected him too well. Or perhaps his life had been too smooth, so he couldn't bear such a huge setback. Where's Bing Ling? Zhu Hongxue asked again. She's not dead, Yang Dingtian said. She's in the hands of the Temple of Annihilation. Zhu Hongxue suddenly stood up and looked at Yang Dingtian. Then why are you still sitting here? Why aren't you going to save her? If you're not going, I'll go. After saying that, he actually wanted to rush out. Sit down, Yang Dingtian shouted. Then Yang Dingtian had a headache. Previously, he had great hopes for Zhu Hongxue. He hoped that he could become the right-hand man to resist the evil ways and become Yang Dingtian's strongest ally. But now it seemed that his mentality was too immature. Not to mention Qin Huayu and Song Chanhua. He was even worse than the little princess Vulture. The little girl Vulture was naive and didn't have a bottom line. Her thinking often went off the rails. She couldn't control her own thoughts and wanted everything she saw. But in fact, the little girl was very smart and even very intelligent. In this team, Yang Dingtian didn't have to spend too much effort to take care of her. She could even make a huge contribution to the team. But this Zhu Hongxue's mentality was too immature. After being defeated by Yang Dingtian, his mentality had completely collapsed. And basically, he had no reaction to saving the world. There was only Dongfang Bingling in his mind. Originally, Yang Dingtian wanted to tell him about Zhu Qingzhu. But now, this thought was completely dispelled. There were probably only two people in this handsome guy's mind. One was his father, whom he was proud of, and the other was Dongfang Bingling, whom he adored. Facing such an immature Zhu Hongxue, Yang Dingtian was really at his wit's end. Zhu Hongxue, sit down, okay? Yang Dingtian said helplessly. I haven't finished speaking. Can you at least finish listening to everything about Bingling? Hurry up and say it. Zhu Hongxue looked at Yang Dingtian with a burning gaze. His whole mind was immersed in the name of Dongfang Bingling. First of all, Dongfang Bingling's real master is Nihility Piaoling, the leader of the hidden sect. Yang Dingtian said. After hearing this, Zhu Hongxue's body shook. His eyes lit up and his handsome face was filled with pride. Yang Dingtian was really speechless. Dongfang Bingling's master was the leader of the hidden sect. What did it have to do with Zhu Hongxue? Was there a need for him to be so excited and proud? So Dongfang Bingling is the future leader of the hidden sect and the leader of the Tiando League. Yang Dingtian saw that Zhu Hongxue's face was so red that it was glowing. Yang Dingtian immediately stopped. You should have heard about the love between the leader of the Temple of Annihilation, Wan Wentian, and Nihility Piaoling, right? Yang Dingtian asked. Zhu Hongxue nodded. Everyone in the world knew about this. It could be said that if it wasn't for the fact that Nihility Piaoling was Wan Wentian's only love, the Tiando League wouldn't have been able to win the War of Extinction 200 years ago. So, even if Nihility Piaoling and Wan Wentian had a love affair, it didn't affect Nihility Piaoling's greatness. Now the young master of the Temple of Annihilation, Li Ming, has come to the world because of the love between the previous leaders of the Temple of Annihilation and the leader of the hidden sect. So the young master of the Temple of Annihilation, Li Ming, has always regarded Dongfang Bingling as his exclusive property. He thinks that he is Bingling's only man. Yang Dingtian said. Dream on, is he worthy? Zhu Hongxue was furious. He suddenly pulled out his sword and shouted, I'll cut that bastard into pieces. Yang Dingtian was speechless. Luckily, he didn't say that he and Bingling had already become husband and wife. Otherwise, Zhu Hongxue would have immediately pulled out his sword. You also know that after the misunderstanding between me and junior sister Dongfang was resolved, our relationship improved a lot. Especially in the Dongli grassland, I accidentally saved her life. So, after returning to the northwest continent, junior sister Dongfang repeatedly helped me. Yang Dingtian carefully worded his words. He was afraid that he would say that his relationship with Bingling was too intimate and trigger Zhu Hongxue's sensitive mind. After hearing this, Zhu Hongxue's expression didn't look too good, but he still nodded in agreement. However, this still angered the young master of the Temple of Annihilation, Li Ming. He regarded junior sister Dongfang as his exclusive property and didn't allow her to have any contact with other men. Junior sister Dongfang helped me, so he saw it as a betrayal. So he ordered his lackeys to release the soul-eater devil on Bingling. Yang Dingtian said. After hearing this, Zhu Hongxue flew into a rage. He clenched his teeth and hissed, I'll kill him, I'll kill him, I'll tear him into pieces. Shameless, despicable lowly bastard. He's worse than a dog or a pig. How dare he touch Bingling? Yang Dingtian finally understood why Zhu Hongxue kept on calling them lowly creatures that were inferior to pigs and dogs. In his eyes, other than Zhu Hongxue, all men were lowly bastards. In this world, only he was worthy of Bingling. They were a match made in heaven. The lackeys who released the soul-eater devil on Bingling came from the Ning clan of the South Sea. Yang Dingtian said. Suddenly, Zhu Hongxue's eyes flashed. He was sure that he would fight the Ning clan of the South Sea to the death. Have you heard of the soul-eater devil? Yang Dingtian asked. Zhu Hongxue nodded and said, I've heard of the soul-eater Xian energy. Once you're hit by it, you'll become a bloodthirsty demon. Yang Dingtian said. The soul-eater devil was modified by one Wentian based on the soul-eater Xian energy. Once you're hit by the soul-eater devil, you'll become a succubus within a month at most. You'll lose your will, and your entire body will be controlled by the Temple of Annihilation. You can probably imagine the consequences. Zhu Hongxue's face instantly turned red. Thinking that Bingling might become a succubus and fall into the hands of the Temple of Annihilation's young master, Li Ming, Zhu Hongxue's heart ached. He didn't dare to imagine that scene, that ending. Yang Dingtian continued. Junior sister Dongfang was framed by the shameless Li Ming because of me, so I had to find the antidote for her. So, I found the person who used the soul-eater devil on junior sister Dongfang. He was the young master of the Ning clan of the South Sea, Ningyu. He was already dead, but the Temple of Annihilation injected evil energy into him and revived him. I heard that he was in Sky Demon City. So junior sister Dongfang and I went to Sky Demon City to find Ningyu to save her. And then? Zhu Hongxue asked. Ningyu's heart was complicated, and he regretted it. He told me how to save her. But in exchange, I had to save the Ning clan of the South Sea from the Temple of Annihilation. Yang Dingtian said. Now junior sister Dongfang can be saved. Zhu Hongxue's face immediately lit up with joy. But at that time, the bastard son of the Ning clan of the South Sea, Ning Wuming, the most vicious dog of the Temple of Annihilation's young master, sent 4 elders to kill me and Bingling. They wanted to capture Bingling and offer her to the young master of the Temple of Annihilation. Bingling's cultivation had completely disappeared, and her entire Qi was controlled by the soul-eater devil. But you know her personality. She would rather die than live in dishonor. She relied on her own will to suppress the evil energy that was controlling her body and fought the 4 Grandmaster elders. She took me and broke out of the encirclement. At that time, Ningyu detonated his Qi and died together with the 4 elders. Bingling's Qi was completely shattered, and she was on the verge of death. Zhu Hongxue's face was covered in tears. He clenched his fists so hard that his nails pierced his flesh, causing blood to flow. Ning Wuming, I will definitely put you to death by 1,000 cuts. 1,000 cuts. Then, I took Bingling and escaped from Sky Demon City to the outskirts. When I saw her covered in blood, and her chi completely shattered, I was scared out of my wits. I wanted to save her, so I lifted her clothes and checked her chi. However, the despicable Ning Wuming sent people to follow me, and recorded everything using the Jade Mirror. Then he slandered me by saying that I was the one who caused junior sister Dongfang's death, and even molested her. Yang Dingtian looked at Zhu Hongxue and said, Zhu Hongxue, do you believe it? Would I defile junior sister Dongfang? Would I be able to kill junior sister Dongfang? Zhu Hongxue looked at Yang Dingtian and nodded vigorously. Impossible. Bingling is a fairy from the heavens. No one dares to defile her. That's right, Yang Dingtian said. And most importantly, even though junior sister Dongfang was seriously injured at that time, she was as pure as jade and as pure as ice. If I was disrespectful to her, would she not have any reaction? She would have killed me with a slap. Zhu Hongshua's eyes lit up. That's right. Bingling is so pure. How could she allow others to defile her? Previously, Yang Dingtian was worried that he would not be able to explain to Zhu Hongxue about Bingling. He was worried that Zhu Hongxue would suspect that he had done something to Bingling. Now Yang Dingtian finally found out. Convincing Zhu Hongxue was the easiest thing to do. He did not need to explain how pure he was. As long as he described Bingling as extremely powerful and noble, it would be enough. As for the rest, Zhu Hongxue would fill in the blanks himself. Even if there were any flaws, Zhu Hongxue would fill in the blanks himself. Now Qin Chichi married Ning Wuming. Lung Yanmei took control of Sky Phoenix Pavilion, and slandered me for defiling Bingling, and causing her death? Do you believe it? Yang Dingtian asked. Impossible, Zhu Hongxue said firmly. Then, they started the Tiando League's Northwest Conference to expel Cloud Sky City from the Tiando League. Then, they let the Ning clan of the South Sea join the Tiando League. Is there anything more ridiculous than this? The people who framed junior sister Dongfang, the lackeys of evil ways, actually want to control our Tiando League. Can we let them succeed? This group of shameless people who framed Bingling? Yang Dingtian said sternly. In your dreams. Zhu Hongxue slammed the ground, instantly smashing the hard stone floor into pieces. At this moment, Qin Huayu and Song Chunhua could not help but look at each other. Their expressions were slightly strange. It was really difficult for Yang Dingtian to deal with an extremely proud and naive person like Zhu Hongxue. Luckily, Yang Dingtian was able to grasp the crux of the matter and quickly find a breakthrough point. He used Dongfang Bingling to pull Zhu Hongshue's extreme hatred towards the Ning clan of the South Sea, Lung Yanmei, and the young master of the Temple of Annihilation. He did not use the so-called righteousness and the survival of the chaotic world to persuade him. And then, Zhu Hongxue asked. Then, Bingling saw her energy reserve shatter. Even if we used Ning Ruo's method, it would not be able to save her. But I was determined not to give up. So she said there was one last way, which was to find her master, the master of the hidden clan, Su Wu Piaoling. Yang Dingtian said. Zhu Hongxue was shocked and said, That's right. Master Su Wu is the best in the world. He must have a way. Yang Dingtian continued. Then Bingling and I went to the northernmost Yin Yang mirror. She said she met Master Su Wu there. But when we passed through the north, we met a shameless scoundrel called Yin Pianxian. He was a very disgusting cripple, and had been pestering Bingling for many years. I know him. This bastard is worse than pigs and dogs. He should take a look at himself in the mirror. He is a toad that wants to eat swan meat. Zhu Hongxue was full of disdain and hatred. If he had not helped Bingling in the past, I would have torn him to pieces. Bingling took me to the Yin Yang mirror. Then, we waited for Master Su Wu to appear. Time passed little by little, and the time until Bingling turned into a succubus was getting shorter and shorter. Yang Dingtian said, Later Bingling told me the truth. She said that Master Su Wu had no way to save her. On the contrary, if he knew that she had been poisoned by the soul-devouring devil, he would be the first to kill her. She said that she brought me to the Yin Yang mirror because she was afraid that the Yin sect would be completely cut off if she died. So, She wanted to introduce me to Master Su Wu, so that I could inherit the Yin sect's legacy. Zhu Hongshua's expression changed slightly when he heard this. Obviously, he felt that the fact that Dongfang Bingling had brought Yang Dingtian was a huge blow to him. Yang Dingtian saw through his thoughts and said, "Senior brother Zhu, you were tens of thousands of miles away at that time. Do you think junior sister Dongfang had a better choice? Also ask yourself honestly, isn't my talent very high? Am I not a very good choice for junior sister Dongfang? If you have any thoughts about this, you are tarnishing Bingling's noble character." Immediately, Zhu Hongshua's face turned red. He looked ashamed and said, "That's right. Your talent is very, very high. I shouldn't have such narrow-minded thoughts. Bingling told me that Master Su Wu would appear in a few days, and asked me to wait at the yin-yang mirror. However, she couldn't even make it through the night. The evil spirit energy had already reached her eyes, and was about to take control of her entire body, and turn her into a succubus." Yang Dingtian said. "She told me to kill her the moment she turned into a succubus. She didn't want to fall into the clutches of the Temple of Annihilation's young master Li Ming. She didn't want to become a succubus who had lost her will. She didn't want her pure body to be silent in a dirty hell." At this point, Zhu Hongshua's entire body trembled and tears streamed down his face. I promised her that I would kill her before she turned into a succubus," Yang Dingtian said. Suddenly, Zhu Hongxue looked up and said with a sharp gaze, You killed her? How is that possible? How could I do it?" Yang Dingtian sighed and said, "If it were you, would you do it? Impossible. I would rather die than do it. A succubus is a succubus. I won't kill her. At least she's still here," Zhu Hongxue said with tears in his eyes. "I thought so too," Yang Dingtian said. "Subsequently, I watched her turn into a succubus with my own eyes. Then, she immediately pulled out her sword to kill me. Of course, I was no match for her, and was about to be killed. At this moment, Uncle Master Lung Qingchen appeared and subdued Bingling, saving my life. He originally wanted to kill the succubus, Bingling, but he couldn't do it in the end, so he prepared to take me away. Right at this moment, that shameless scoundrel Yin Pianxuan appeared." Zhu Hongxue was stunned. Why did that dog Yin Pianxian appear here at this time? No matter how much I hated him, I still didn't want him to die and told him to run away. However, he directly attacked and Uncle Master Lung Qingchen couldn't move at all. Yang Dingtian said indifferently, "Uncle Master Lung Qingchen was a grandmaster, but he was directly subdued by him." "How is that possible?" Zhu Hongxue exclaimed. "Because Yin Pianxian is the Temple of Annihilation's young master, Li Ming," Yang Dingtian said. Zhu Hongxue trembled violently. His eyes revealed an expression of utter disbelief. He was thoroughly horrified. That dog is worse than a pig, is actually the Temple of Annihilation's young master?" Zhu Hongxue hissed. "Yes," Yang Dingtian said. "Uncle Master Lung Qingchen was subdued and couldn't move at all. The succubus Bingling directly pierced Uncle Master Lung Qingchen's head with her sword. This elder, whom she regarded as her father, died directly under her sword." Zhu Hongxue was shocked and couldn't say anything. "Then what about Sect Master Su Wu? Why didn't she appear?" Zhu Hongxue asked. Yang Dingtian was silent for a moment. He looked at Zhu Hongxue and said, "Senior brother Zhu, what I'm going to say next is the world's most confidential secret. It will make the world despair and shock the world. Can I believe you?" "Of course," Zhu Hongxue said seriously. "Don't tell me you doubt my character. Don't tell me you doubt Bingling's eyesight." Sect Master Su Wu appeared. Yang Dingtian said indifferently, "She told me the secret of the hidden sect. It turns out that the hidden sect is not a force at all. There is only one person in each generation of the hidden sect. After Sect Master Su Wu, it should have been Bingling. However, Bingling became a succubus. Why didn't Sect Master Su Wu save her?" Zhu Hongxue asked. "Because Sect Master Su Wu was also poisoned by the soul-devouring devil mystic more than 200 years ago. Then, she became the Queen Devil Queen in front of me," Yang Dingtian said indifferently. "Before she became the Devil Empress Undead Concubine, she had passed the position of the Hidden Sect Patriarch to me. She had also passed me the Hidden Sect's keepsake." Yang Dingtian took out the crystal sword and handed it to Zhu Hongxue. Zhu Hongxue took the crystal sword in a daze and muttered to himself, I know this crystal sword. How can this be? Even Sect Master Su Wu was demonized. Then what hope does the Tiando League have? Zhu Hongxue said. Yang Dingtian said. Then the Queen Devil Queen and the succubus Bingling disappeared. The young master of the Shrine of Extermination, Yan Pianxian, came before me. He said that he wanted to kill me, but he didn't want me to watch Bingling fall into his demonic hands. He wanted me to watch the world fall into his demonic hands. He wanted me to experience the despair of an egg hitting a rock. That was why he didn't kill me. He also promised me that the duel with Bingling 3 years later would take place as scheduled. If I could win, he wouldn't humiliate Bingling's body. Of course, before my duel with Bingling, he wouldn't touch Bingling either. When he said this, Zhu Hongxue's eyes lit up. There was more hope. To him, Bingling's innocence was the most important. Of course, Yang Dingtian lied about this. In fact, after Bingling became Princess Mudan, she was second only to one person in the evil ways. She wasn't someone that the Temple of Annihilation's young master Li Ming could humiliate. However, in order to make Zhu Hongxue angry, he could only say this. If he told Zhu Hongxue directly that Dongfang Bingling had become the princess of the evil ways, she would be second only to one person in the world. Perhaps Zhu Hongxue, this romantic, would directly side with her. In any case, the justice of the Tiando League wasn't very important to him. I clearly saw that when Bingling killed martial uncle Lung Qingshan, her eyes were filled with tears and incomparable pain. In my ears her sorrowful voice rang. She said, "Senior brother, save me." Yang Dingtian, and then tears fell. This wasn't an act. Every time Yang Dingtian thought of this scene, his heart would be completely shaken. At this time, Zhu Hongxue's face was already covered in tears, and he was sobbing. "Senior brother Zhu, I asked you why I saved you just now. Actually, there's another reason," Yang Dingtian said indifferently. "Do you know what it is?" "What?" Zhu Hongxue cried and trembled. "Because of Bingling," Yang Dingtian said. "Before she became a succubus, she personally told me that before she died, there was one person she was most worried about, and that was you." Zhu Hongxue was shocked, and his eyes emitted a light that shocked Yang Dingtian. "She said that you were a person with great talent and noble character, but you were too proud and conceited, and you were unyielding. She was really worried that you would take the wrong path and suffer losses." Yang Dingtian said. "If she didn't die, she could still keep an eye on you. But if she died, no one would keep an eye on you. So, she told me to keep an eye on you and help you." Of course, Yang Dingtian was lying, but it was very useful. Zhu Hongxue directly knelt on the ground, sobbing and wailing. Yang Dingtian saw it even more clearly. Although Zhu Hongxue looked down on the world, but in front of Bingling, he lowered his position very, very low. He raised Bingling to the top of the 9 heavens, and put himself in an extremely humble position. So even if Bingling had a little bit of affirmation, it was enough for him to go through water and tread on fire. This person was really a sentimental person. His infatuation with Bingling was far greater than Yang Dingtian's. Moreover, he also knew clearly in his heart that Bingling had always been indifferent to him. But the more it was like this, the more infatuated he was. From the beginning to the end, he didn't care about anyone. However, as long as Yang Dingtian talked about Bingling, no matter how high her status was, or how powerful she was, he didn't have the slightest bit of jealousy. He was completely proud and honored. "Senior brother Zhu, we have to save Bingling. We have to completely defeat that bastard Li Ming. We have to completely eliminate evil ways. We have to save Bingling. We have to let her return to being the fairy of the 9 heavens. We have to let her return to being the leader of the Tiando League. We have to save her." Yang Dingtian looked at Zhu Hongxue and said, "But I can't do it alone. I only have Cloud Sky City, but the enemy is incomparably powerful. I'm already in danger. Senior brother Zhu, help me, okay?" Yang Dingtian said sincerely. Then Yang Dingtian bowed to Zhu Hongxue. Zhu Hongxue was still crying on the ground. Then he gradually calmed down. The light in his eyes began to condense, and the expression on his face began to become more determined. Evil ways and the Temple of Annihilation are absolutely irreconcilable. I swear, I will definitely kill the Ning clan of the South Sea and tear Ning Wuming into pieces. Then, Zhu Hongxue stretched out his hand to Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian stretched out his hand and said to Song Chunhua, Chunhua, senior brother Qin, you guys come too. Immediately, Song Chunhua and Qin Huayu stepped forward. They raised their hands and clapped. Yang Dingtian said sternly, we can't let junior sister Dongfang down. We can't let the Temple of Annihilation be complacent. Although our forces aren't weak, we have to let the demons of the Temple of Annihilation see clearly. We have to let that bastard Li Ming see clearly. Our Tiando League isn't dead yet. Our Tiando League still has heroes. Yes. Suddenly their blood boiled. Yang Dingtian looked at everyone and said, since we're going to treat each other with sincerity, we'll become the kindling of justice in this world. Let's become sworn brothers of the opposite sex. How about it? Yang Dingtian was still a little worried about Zhu Hongxue. Zhu Hongxue was too sensitive and naive. He had to completely hold him back. Yang Dingtian saw it clearly. Zhu Hongxue was an arrogant and conceited person, but once he fell in love, it wouldn't be easy to change. Therefore, he should be able to hold him back by using the relationship. When Yang Dingtian suggested this, Zhu Hongxue was instantly startled. Senior brother Zhu, don't tell me you still look down on me in your heart? Yang Dingtian said. Zhu Hongxue fell into deep thought. He realized that at this moment, he actually had a strange feeling about Yang Dingtian in his heart. Perhaps it was because Yang Dingtian's story with Bing Ling gave Zhu Hongxue a strong sense of immersion. He couldn't help but put himself in Yang Dingtian's shoes. Perhaps it was Bing Ling who entrusted herself to Yang Dingtian at the last moment. Of course, if someone else entrusted themselves to Yang Dingtian, they would say that they were naive and would take the wrong path. Zhu Hongxue would be furious. He would see it as a humiliation and would directly draw his sword to wipe it away. However, when Dongfang Bingling said that he was naive and was afraid that he would take the wrong path and suffer losses, Zhu Hongxue was moved. Zhu Hongxue was so touched that he wanted to cry. His entire body and mind were sweet and numb. Bing Ling said that he was naive, so he desperately believed that he was really naive. Bing Ling was worried that he would take the wrong path, so he reflected on himself. If he really did take the wrong path, he would suffer losses. In short, Bing Ling's words of concern were like an imperial edict to him. Of course not. Even I lost to you. Zhu Hongxue said to Yang Dingtian. Then what do you think of my suggestion? Yang Dingtian said. After we become siblings of the opposite sex, we will live and die together. We will never betray or abandon each other. Although Song Chunhua's blood was boiling, she was not very willing in her heart, because she was more willing to treat Yang Dingtian as the leader. She was afraid that this kind of equal relationship would hurt Yang Dingtian's position as the leader. Okay. Zhu Hongxue clenched his fists. After he really thought about Yang Dingtian's words, he felt that Bing Ling seemed to have turned into a tie that tied him and Yang Dingtian together. Qin Huayu was also worried that this kind of brotherhood would weaken Yang Dingtian's position. He could not help but ask, Then who is the elder among us? The meaning was very clear. He wanted Yang Dingtian to be the leader of the brothers. Of course you're the elder, Yang Dingtian said. Among everyone present, senior brother Qin is the oldest. As soon as Yang Dingtian said this, Song Chunhua and Qin Huayu immediately breathed a sigh of relief. They were worried that Yang Dingtian would make Zhu Hongxue the leader of the brothers because of his relationship with the Xiantian sect's young master. Now, it did not matter if Qin Huayu was the elder brother. This was because Qin Huayu would always follow Yang Dingtian's lead. Okay, then let's become sworn brothers and sisters of the opposite sex, everyone said. Go and call Vulture over, Yang Dingtian said. Zhu Hongxue immediately frowned slightly and said, Yang Dingtian, there's almost no one in the world who can be compared to us siblings. I'm afraid no one else is qualified. This person was really arrogant and conceited to the extreme, Yang Dingtian said. Vulture is the little princess of the Vulture Palace. She's the only successor of ancestor Wolingzi. She might be the only celestial spirit master in the entire world. Suddenly, Zhu Hongxue was stunned and nodded. If that's the case, then she's barely qualified to be with us. I'll call Vulture, Qin Huayu said. Not long after, they heard Vulture's excited voice. Become sworn brothers and sisters of the opposite sex. Good, good. There's also Zhu Hongxue. That's even better. He's so handsome. But he really embarrassed himself yesterday. To think that I used to like him a little. Sigh, but seeing that he's so handsome, I'll forgive him for embarrassing himself yesterday. Hearing the little girl's unscrupulous words, Yang Dingtian's face instantly darkened. Zhu Hongxue's expression also became a little strange. The little girl is still young. She's only 16 or 17 years old. As her elder brother, you have to tolerate and protect her. Don't lower yourself to her level, Yang Dingtian said. Zhu Hongxue raised his head and said, Of course. Why would I bicker with such a little girl? Yang Dingtian glanced at him with incomparable certainty and admiration. However, he felt a little helpless in his heart. Senior brother Zhu, actually among these people, I'm the most worried about you. The one I have to tolerate the most is also you. Your mental age is the youngest. An hour later, Yang Dingtian was in the plaza of Cloud Sky City. He knelt down on a candlestick and lit incense. Qin Huayu, Song Chunhua, Zhu Hongxue, Yang Dingtian and Vulture. The five of them knelt in front of the incense table. It was unknown whether it was intentional or not, but Qin Huayu and Song Chunhua directly surrounded Yang Dingtian in the center. Zhu Hongxue was on the far left, and Vulture was on the far right. Then in front of all the disciples of Cloud Sky City, the five of them held incense and kowtowed. I am Qin Huayu. I am Song Chunhua. I am Yang Dingtian. I am Zhu Hongxue. I am Vulture. From today onwards, we are brothers and sisters of the opposite sex. We may not be born in the same year, month and day, but we hope to die in the same year, month and day. From today onwards we will live and die together. We will never betray each other. From today onwards we will fight for justice. We will fight for the Taekwondo League. We will fight against evil ways to the end. Chapter 431. At this moment, there were only 5 people on Yang Dingtian's side. On the other side, there were more than 30,000 people. However, when Qin Huayu, Zhu Hongxue, and the others took off their armor and masks, these tens of thousands of soldiers did not think much of it. Instead, they felt that Yang Dingtian was too much of a bully. Only 5 people dared to charge over. Did they not exist? Therefore, they roared and continued to charge over. However, their feudal lords were all stunned. When Qin Huayu took off his mask, they were already stunned. Then, Song Chunhua and the others continued to be stunned. Finally, when Zhu Hongxue took off his mask, they had completely turned into wood, as if they had been struck by lightning. What the hell is going on? What exactly happened? Didn't they say that Yang Dingtian had been abandoned by everyone? Didn't they say that Yang Dingtian was completely condemned by everyone and became the public enemy of the world? Why does it seem like he's so awesome and cool now? Who is Zhu Hongxue? The #1 youth leader in the world, the future master of the Black Sky sect. He could be said to be the most important person in the Taekwondo League. At this moment, he was shocked by Yang Dingtian's god-beating whip. Among the 5 of them, Yang Dingtian was standing in the middle. However, some of the lesser lords did not recognize these young lords of the major factions. They still roared and charged forward. However, when they saw that their companions had stopped moving and Tang Bojiao's face was full of defeat and trembling, they also stopped and looked around. When the tens of thousands of soldiers behind saw that the lords in front of them had stopped, they also quickly stopped. Instantly it was a mess. Therefore, the mighty army of tens of thousands stopped, and Yang Dingtian's group of 5 charged forward. When he was 20 meters away from the rebel army, Yang Dingtian stopped. Looking at the overwhelming rebel army, he said indifferently, I don't know what Tang Bojiao and the others said to you. I've been abandoned by everyone. I've become the public enemy of the Taekwondo League. Perhaps you don't know who these people beside me are. Brothers, introduce yourselves. Qin Huayu stepped forward and said loudly, Northwest Qin City's young lord, Qin Huayu. Song Chunhua stepped forward and said in a clear voice, Northern World Society's young master, Song Chunhua. Zhu Hongxue raised his head and said arrogantly, Black Heaven Sect, Zhu Hongxue. The little Princess Vulture also raised her head and said, Young master of the Vulture Palace, Vulture. By the way, my great-grandfather is Wilingzi. Instantly, Yang Dingtian and the others rolled their eyes at the little girl. At least half of the imposing atmosphere had been destroyed by this girl. The little girl stuck out her little tongue. If she didn't say her great-grandfather's name, it wouldn't be impressive enough. However, the effect was already very shocking. The tens of thousands of rebel soldiers were completely stunned. It had even begun to turn into admiration, intense worship, and a deep sense of inferiority. Speaking of inferiority, the disciples of Cloud Heaven City all felt inferior in front of Zhu Hongxue. On the other hand, the warriors of Cloud Sky City's territory were not as good as the warriors of Cloud Sky City's direct descendants. Normally, they didn't even have the qualifications to meet people like Qin Huayu and Song Chunhua. In the Northwest Tiando League, who is the pillar that holds up the sky? The Northwest Qin City and the World Society. But these two young masters are already my brother and sister. We live and die together. In the entire chaotic world, who is the pillar that holds up the sky in the Tiando League? Black Heaven Sect in Yinyang School. Yinyang School's headmaster is my master. Black Heaven Sect's young master is my brother. Saying that I've become the public enemy of the Tiando League. What a joke! Yang Dingtian said sternly. Who said that? Lung Yanmei, just a traitor who rose to power. Who does she think she is? The real leader of the Northwest Tiando League is Pavilion Master Duan Ruyan. Who is she? She's my most respected elder and my absolute ally. That's right, Yang Dingtian's words were very vulgar. It was as if he had a strong relationship with a certain important person and was trying to raise his status. However, there was no other way. The rebel soldiers in front of him fell for this trick. Yang Dingtian's method of raising the banner was the most effective. If he didn't raise the banner, was he going to reason with them and talk about justice? What a joke! Lung Yanmei, the traitor of Sky Phoenix Pavilion, Qin Chichi, the traitor of Qin City, and the evil Ning clan of the South Sea. They are the main culprits who slandered me, Yang Dingtian. They are destined to be nailed to the pillar of shame, destined to die under a knife. Are you going to stand with them? Yang Dingtian shouted coldly. The tens of thousands of rebel soldiers were silent. Their aura was completely suppressed by Yang Dingtian. Make your choice now. Are you going to stand with the traitor Lung Yanmei, Qin Chichi, or the Tiando League? Yang Dingtian shouted sternly. Instantly, the nobles present trembled. Seeing that his side was completely suppressed, the new Iron Sword Fort master couldn't hold back the hostility in his heart. He said, Yang Dingtian, don't raise the banner anymore. You're using these important people to suppress you. If you have the ability, use your strength to speak. What's your cultivation? You're just a beginner revered martial artist. You want to be the master of all of us here? As soon as he said that, the nobles present all showed their dissatisfaction. Yes, Qin Huayu and Zhu Hongxue are awesome. However, the city lord of Cloud Sky City is still you, Yang Dingtian. Shiman Wuya is so awesome. It's fine that we're suppressed by him. Now you, a mere revered martial artist, want to suppress us? The new Iron Sword Fort master continued. There are hundreds of lords here. There are at least 17 or 18 of them whose cultivation is higher than you, Yang Dingtian. Although I'm not the strongest, I'm still far stronger than you, Yang Dingtian. With your lousy cultivation, you have the nerve to give us orders? How about this? We won't attack Cloud Sky City. We'll leave Cloud Sky City. That's fine, right? As soon as he said that, the rebel nobles seemed to have found a solution. They shouted, Yes, yes, we'll leave Cloud Sky City. Instantly, the Iron Sword Fort master said proudly, Don't say that we're bullying you. This world is so realistic. The weak are prey to the strong. Everyone hopes to rely on the strong. How about this? You and I fight. If you win, everything will go back to normal. If you lose, we'll all leave Cloud Sky City. We don't want the weak Cloud Sky City to ride roughshod over us. How about that? As soon as he said that, the rebel army's morale suddenly increased. In terms of status, we can't compare to you. However, in terms of cultivation, everyone here is much more powerful than you. A mere beginner revered martial artist. Even the new Iron Sword Fort Master was a 4-star revered martial artist. Although he couldn't compare to his father, he was more powerful than the previous Iron Sword Fort Master. However, his brain wasn't very good, so he couldn't become the Iron Sword Fort Master. However, a few months ago, the Iron Sword Fort Master was killed by Yang Dingtian, so he became the new Iron Sword Fort Master. If the next Duke challenged you, as the Cloud Sky City's lord, you didn't dare to accept. No matter how noble your status was, no matter how many important people you brought, Yang Dingtian's morale would be weakened. Immediately, the nobles looked at the Iron Sword Fort Master. They all said that his brain wasn't very good, but it didn't seem like it. Judging from his performance today, his brain was very good. Seeing everyone's gazes, the new Iron Sword Fort Master became even more proud. He walked out of the crowd and rushed in front of Yang Dingtian. He roared, "Yang Dingtian, do you dare to fight with me? As long as you defeat me, we'll go back and continue to treat you as our lord. If you lose, then I'm sorry, but we'll have to leave Cloud Sky City." The new Iron Sword Fort Master stared coldly at Yang Dingtian with his bloody eyes. He suddenly raised his giant sword and roared, "Yang Dingtian, do you dare to fight?" The nobles behind him also shouted, "Yang Dingtian, do you dare to fight?" Hundreds of people shouted, trying to completely suppress Yang Dingtian's momentum. The Iron Sword Fort Master suddenly tore his robe, waved his giant sword, and roared at Yang Dingtian. "Yang Dingtian, have you become a coward? Do you dare to fight?" Yang Dingtian had heard that the new Iron Sword Fort Master's martial arts were better than his brother's, but his brain wasn't very good. Now he knew what was wrong with this person's brain. "Yang Dingtian, do you dare to fight with me? Don't you dare? Don't you dare? Ha ha ha." The Iron Sword Fort Master laughed wildly. Yang Dingtian looked at him indifferently. "Get lost!" Yang Dingtian shouted. Boom! Suddenly, there seemed to be a sudden thunder in the sky. Just Yang Dingtian's shout turned into a huge energy, which suddenly condensed into a giant dragon and swept toward the Iron Sword Fort Master. Bang! In an instant, the Iron Sword Fort Master's body shook violently, and then his huge and majestic body flew out directly like a straw. Puff! In the air, his body suddenly exploded, and he died without a complete corpse. All the dukes present were completely shocked. They looked at the scene in front of them in disbelief. Although the new Iron Sword Fort Master's brain wasn't very good, he was still a 4-star martial venerable. They thought that Yang Dingtian didn't dare to fight. They thought that Yang Dingtian couldn't defeat him, who knew that he didn't even need to make a move. With a single shout, he had shattered his body into pieces. The energy of a shout easily shattered a 4-star martial venerable. This was even more than an instant kill. What kind of cultivation was this? How amazing was this? You're worse than pigs and dogs. What qualifications do you have to fight with me? Yang Dingtian raised his chin and said with incomparable contempt. Then he said indifferently, "All the lords and dukes of Cloud Sky City, you incited a rebellion, which is unforgivable. I order all of you to be put to death. However, the remaining tens of thousands of rebels, you are only bewitched, so you can be exempted from death. From now on, you are all direct warriors of Cloud Sky City. Every month, your salary will be doubled, and the land you own will be doubled. The outstanding ones can even enter Cloud Sky City's newly built celestial chi condensation array to cultivate. Now make your choice. If you want to continue the rebellion, I will exterminate your 9 generations. If you want to completely surrender to me, take 10 steps back." Suddenly, the 30,000 rebels looked at each other. Although Yang Dingtian's words made them very tempted, they really didn't dare to move without someone taking the lead. "No one is to retreat," the rebel lord said loudly. "Yang Dingtian is lying to you. We have tens of thousands of people, and Cloud Sky City is no match for us. Double the salary, double the land and celestial chi condensation array. They are all lies. Only by rushing forward and killing Yang Dingtian will we have a chance to survive. That's right. Charge forward and kill Yang Dingtian. Everyone, don't be afraid of him. Cloud Sky City only has a few soldiers. If they want to exterminate your 9 generations, they are dreaming. Aren't they afraid of biting their tongues? Suddenly, the tens of thousands of rebels began to hesitate. Qin Huayu stepped forward and sneered. Cloud Sky City doesn't have many soldiers, but Northwest Qin City has plenty. 100,000, 300,000, 500,000. As many as you want. If it's not enough, the world will send another 200,000 soldiers. Will it be enough to exterminate your 9 generations? When Qin Huayu said this, everyone's faces trembled. Qin Huayu said, also, the Tiando League headquarters will list all your clansmen on the world's wanted list. Even if your families escape to the ends of the earth, only death awaits. I want to see if you have the final say in the Tiando League. Or if we have the final say. Yang Dingtian looked at the 30,000 rebels. Suddenly he shouted, still not retreating? Do you want to die? Suddenly, it was as if a thunderclap sounded in the sky. This loud sound caused the earth to tremble. Everyone's eardrums almost burst. This power was even more shocking than when the Iron Sword Fort Master was killed. Bang! At the same time, an incomparably huge bolt of lightning struck down from the sky. The dozens of rebels in the center of the field were instantly turned into ashes. They were directly blown to pieces. Of course, this was the power of Yang Dingtian's lightning-type mystic skill, Demon Sky Splitter. However, many of the rebels thought that it was the power of Yang Dingtian's roar that caused the world to be angry. Suddenly, the tens of thousands of rebels trembled and quickly retreated. Once he retreated, there was no way to stop it. Like a tide, they retreated more than 10 steps. They were completely defeated. Many lords shouted, threatened, and even killed. But they could not stop the rebels from retreating. Suddenly, the tens of thousands of rebels completely drew a clear line between themselves and the hundreds of rebel lords. They left them there alone. Thus, all the rebel lords' aura weakened and felt incomparably weak. Kill them all. Leave no one alive, Yang Dingtian ordered calmly. Then, the 5 of them put down their masks and galloped. With Yang Dingtian as the leader, the 5 riders pierced into the group of rebel lords like an arrow. They pulled out their sharp swords and killed crazily. There was no suspense and no resistance. In incomparable horror, the heads of these rebel lords were cut off one by one. Yang Dingtian and the other 4 swept over. Blood spurted out and heads flew. In just a moment, dozens of nearly 100 rebels were slaughtered clean. Everyone was beheaded and died without a complete corpse. In fact, if these nearly 100 rebels were to gather together and fight to the death, they would not be completely powerless. Although they might still lose in the end, they would also cause a certain amount of trouble and damage to Yang Dingtian and the other 4. The combat strength of nearly 100 experts gathered together was still astonishing. However, the reality was a one-sided massacre. There was no resistance at all. It was because they were completely weak. Before the war began, their souls were almost scattered. Yang Dingtian's mysterious might, and the identities of Vermilion Snow, Qin Huayu, and Song Chunhua suppressed them to the point that they almost could not breathe. Therefore, this battle was an absolutely lopsided battle. Over 100 rebels were wiped out. Among the people present, only Tang Bosheo was still standing. His legs were trembling, and his entire body was trembling. He used all his strength to prevent himself from collapsing. Yang Dingtian turned his horse around and came in front of Tang Bosheo, looking at him indifferently. Tang Bosheo trembled and knelt on the ground. He said loudly, "My brave and great lord of Cloud Sky City, Tang Bosheo has finally fulfilled his mission and gathered these rebels together so that Master can eliminate them in one fell swoop. My Cloud Sky City is strong and immortal. I, Lord of Cloud Sky City, Yang Dingtian, have both literary and martial virtues. I benefit the common people and will last for thousands of years. My might will shake the world." Yang Dingtian was stunned and looked at Tang Bosheo in disbelief. It turned out that people could really be shameless to this extent. "Where's Shimanju?" Yang Dingtian asked indifferently. Instantly, Tang Bosheo said flatteringly, "That traitor seemed to have heard the news and escaped long ago. He must have gone to seek refuge with that bitch Qin Chi Chi." "Then what do you plan to do, traitor?" Yang Dingtian asked indifferently. Tang Boshio's expression changed slightly. Then he suddenly pulled out his dagger and swung it at his crotch. Instantly blood spurted out. Tang Boshio had completely become a eunuch. Yang Dingtian was really shocked. How could Tang Boxiao be so cruel to himself? After castrating himself, Tang Boshio endured the unbearable pain and knelt in front of Yang Dingtian while trembling. He kissed Yang Dingtian's warhorse hooves and said in a trembling voice, "From now on, I am Master's loyal dog, the most lowly lackey. I am willing to do anything for Master." Then he said in a low voice, "Also, I actually have an illegitimate daughter who is as beautiful as a flower. What's even more rare is that they are a pair of twins who look exactly the same." Yang Dingtian was completely speechless. This shameless person, not only did he offer his own wife, he even offered his illegitimate daughter. Yang Dingtian listened to his shameless words and did not say anything. "Also, I know the direct descendants of these traitors. If you cut the grass without removing the roots, it will grow again when the spring breeze blows. I am willing to lead people to uproot them and let this 1,000-mile territory completely become Cloud Sky City's territory. The people of this 1,000-mile territory will no longer be persecuted. I will let them truly enjoy the glory of the city Lord God of culture and martial arts," Tang Boshio said. Yang Dingtian still did not say anything. Tang Boshio continued, "In the war between you and that bitch Qin Chichi, and those pigs and dogs from the Ning clan of the South Sea, I can also be a surprise soldier. I am willing to do anything for my great master, and show my humble and meager strength. A person who is shameless is invincible. This sentence is really true," Yang Dingtian said lightly. Then, Yang Dingtian rode his horse and arrived in front of the 30,000 traders. Whoosh! No one knew who started it, but the 30,000 traders all knelt down. In the end, the front was filled with kneeling traders. Not a single one of them was standing. "I mean what I said," Yang Dingtian said lightly. "All of you sit where you are and wait. Cloud Sky City will send troops to settle you down and reorganize you. Tang Boshio, come here," Yang Dingtian said. Yes. Tang Boshio endured the pain and quickly ran over. He directly knelt in front of Yang Dingtian and said, "Master, what orders do you have? You are familiar with the traders. Organize them into teams. 10 people make a small team, 100 people make a medium team, and 1,000 people make a large team. Every team has a captain. Also, you pick out 500 people with the best martial arts. You will be the temporary military commander and be in charge of the order of this 3-man army," Yang Dingtian said lightly. "If one person runs away, kill all of his small team. If 2 people run away, kill all of their medium team. If 10 people run away, kill all of their large team. Yes, I will obey the orders of the city lord." Tang Boshio knelt and said, "These 500 soldiers can be the most direct army of Cloud Sky City in the future. They will enjoy 3 times the treatment of ordinary warriors," Yang Dingtian said. Suddenly, the 30,000 traders' eyes lit up and were filled with hope. After that, Yang Dingtian really didn't care about anything. He directly left with Qin Huayu and Song Chunhua. He handed over the 30,000 traders to Tang Boshio. Of course, he only used a flying bird to send a message to Cloud Sky City and asked Shimin Lai to send an army to reorganize and take over the traders. "Yang Dingtian, why didn't you kill Tang Boshio? He is really disgusting," little Princess Vulture said. "You must like to hear his flattery." Yang Dingtian said, "He is still useful." "Then you shouldn't have handed these 30,000 people to him. What if something happens?" Vulture said, "In a few hours, Shimin Lai will bring people to take over this army, but he will only bring a few people, only 1 or 2,000. If this traitor army rioted, wouldn't Shimin Lai be in danger? It won't," Song Chunhua said. "These traitors are like a group of dragons without a leader. They have already become a flock of sheep. Even if they rioted, they wouldn't be a match for Shimin Lai's 1,000 over black blood cavalry. Then what if Shimin Ju or Qin Chichi sends experts to fan the flames among the 30,000 traitors?" Little Princess Vulture said. "Qin Chichi looks down on this motley crew," Yang Dingtian spoke indifferently. "Furthermore, our enemy is in the west, and we are heading towards the west. If there is an enemy, we will be the first to meet them. Qin Huayu also said, "Don't worry. These 30,000 traitors are insignificant. They can't do anything, nor can they ruin anything." Yang Dingtian led the 5 of them to the Abyss Castle at the fastest speed. As expected, Shimanju was no longer there. All the cavalry in the Abyss Castle had also retreated. It was obvious that they had gone to seek refuge with Qin Chichi of the northwest Qin city. Yang Dingtian's group of 5 rode directly across the drawbridge at the Abyss Castle. At this moment, there was no one on the drawbridge. On the other side of the drawbridge was the territory of the northwest Qin city. It was guarded by Qin Jingtang of the Abyss Castle. At this moment, there were guards of the Qin city in the outpost. They didn't stop Yang Dingtian's group, but no one came out to greet Qin Huayu. Qin Huayu was the young master of the northwest Qin city. Qin Jingtang should have come to greet him personally. However, the entire Abyss Castle was silent. Qin Jingtang didn't appear. No one else appeared, because Qin Jingtang was sitting on the wall. They didn't know whether they should stand on Qin Chichi's side or Qin Huayu's side. Therefore, even if they knew Qin Huayu had arrived, they pretended not to see him. Qin Huayu's face immediately became ugly. "Do you want to go to the Abyss Castle to see Qin Jingtang?" Song Chunhua asked. "No need," Qin Huayu said. "If they want to sit on the wall, then let them continue to sit on the wall." Then, Yang Dingtian led the 5 of them and continued to head west. Along the way, they passed by the northwest Qin city's territory. However, there was absolute silence along the way. No one came to greet Qin Huayu. It was as if they didn't see him at all. It seemed that the situation of the northwest Qin city was very bad. Qin Wancho's focus had already shifted even more toward Qin Chichi. "We have to hurry," Yang Dingtian said. "The marriage between Qin Huayu and Song Lihua can only succeed. It can't fail. The World Society's alliance with us can only succeed. It can't fail." "Yes," Song Chunhua said coldly. "In order to achieve this goal, we can do anything." After entering the territory of the northwest Qin city, Yang Dingtian's group rode on their flying mounts and directly went north. Along the Continental Bridge, they flew in the direction of the Northern Lands World Society. Chapter 432. The World Society was the only overlord in the north. In terms of territory, it was even bigger than the northwest Qin city. The entire north belonged to the World Society and was about 4,000 to 5,000 miles wide. Of course, due to the unique geographical environment of the north, the population wasn't as dense as the northwest Qin city. Therefore, its overall power was slightly weaker than the northwest Qin city. However, among the world 9 sects, its power was second only to the northwest Qin city. It was one of the 2 pillars of the entire western mainland. It was already spring, but there was still very little green in the north. Most of its territory was scorched red. There would be a patch of green in about every 100 miles. Although it wasn't as exaggerated as the oases, it wasn't too far off. Most of the people were gathered in these oases. Yang Dingtian and the other 4 rode on their flying mounts and arrived at the headquarters of the World Society, King City, when the sky was about to turn dark. The entire King City was built on a mountain. It was grand and magnificent. The city was 1,000 meters tall and towered above the clouds. Of course, the Temple of Blood was also in the Mountain of Blood. However, it was only a cave that was excavated in the Mountain of Blood to form the Temple of Blood. As for King City, it started from the bottom of the mountain and went up layer by layer. Each layer was narrower and more magnificent than the last. This huge stone mountain was about 1,000 meters tall. Floor by floor, there were a total of 9 floors. Of course, the people who lived in King City were stronger and nobler with each layer. Yang Dingtian looked at the city from afar and couldn't help but exclaim, compared to Cloud Sky City and even the Northwest Qin City, King City could be said to be an architectural miracle. Before they got close to King City, a group of flying cavalrymen surrounded them and shouted, "Who are you? Come down immediately, or we'll kill you." Song Chunhua lifted her mask and said, "It's me." Instantly, a few of the flying cavalrymen bowed and said respectfully, "Greetings, Commander." Then, this group of flying cavalrymen escorted Yang Dingtian and the others to King City's aerial platform and landed. The aerial platform was on the 5th level of King City. Yang Dingtian and the others had just landed when a group of cavalrymen rushed forward. Then, the leading cavalryman got off his horse and knelt down. "Greetings, Commander." "Get up," Song Chunhua said. "Shall we return to the sect?" "He's doing very well. He just misses the Grand Commander very much," the leading knight said. Then he looked at Yang Dingtian and the others. At this moment, Yang Dingtian and the others were all wearing golden masks. "These people are my friends." Song Chunhua did not reveal the identities of Yang Dingtian and the others. Then, the leading knight led Song Chunhua and the others into the city. Yang Dingtian and the rest mounted their horses and followed him into the city. They then headed towards the highest level of the city. "Song Minghua, did you go to the Northwest Taekwondo League's meeting on behalf of your father?" Song Chunhua asked. It turned out that the leader of the knights was his more mature brother, Song Minghua. Yes. When Song Minghua heard Song Chunhua mention this matter, he became slightly excited and said, "The meeting mainly confirmed Yang Dingtian's unforgivable crime and publicized the evidence of Yang Dingtian murdering Fairy Dongfang. They decided to expel Cloud Heaven City from the Taekwondo League and issue a kill order for Yang Dingtian. In the end, they decided to form an alliance to suppress Cloud Heaven City." Song Chunhua frowned slightly and said, "Then our world society also decided to send out troops?" "Yes, of course we have to send out troops. Yang Dingtian has harmed the world, and his crime is unforgivable. Everyone has the right to punish him," Song Minghua said. "Because you weren't here. My father ordered me to form an army to suppress Cloud Heaven City. These days, I have been busy with this matter. I plan to select 3,000 steel warriors, 500 demon dragon cavalry, and 10,000 elite cavalrymen to suppress Cloud Heaven City." Hearing this, the little Princess Vulture couldn't help but glance at Yang Dingtian. However, Yang Dingtian was completely expressionless. Song Chunhua frowned slightly and said, 10,000 elite cavalrymen isn't much, but 3,000 steel warriors and 500 demon dragon cavalry have already touched our world society's assets. What benefits are there for you to be willing to pay such a huge price? Song Minghua glanced at Yang Dingtian and the others, wanting to say something but hesitating. "Don't worry, they are all my most trusted friends," Song Chunhua said. "The Taekwondo League's Northwest branch has decided that once we suppress Cloud Heaven City, Qin City will not take a single inch of Cloud Heaven City's territory. It will all belong to our world society." Song Minghua said, "Sister, you know this. Although our north is over 5,000 miles wide, the land is barren and the people are poor. Moreover, we are separated from the continent by a long land bridge, so we are called the 9 gates of the world. However, we are already considered isolated in the sea. Even in our dreams, we want to go deep into the continent and obtain a piece of fertile land. Cloud Heaven City's territory is fertile and fertile. Once we obtain this piece of land, we will be able to step into the northwest continent. We will be in an invincible position." At this moment, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Qin Chichi and Ning Wuming were really generous. They gave Cloud Heaven City's territory to World Society. No wonder World Society's Song Xiao was so tempted to send out such an elite troop. After hearing this, Song Chunhua didn't say anything. She just nodded silently. The group of people arrived at the top of King City. This was the most important place of World Society. Only one person had the qualifications to stay here, and that was World Society's leader Song Xiao. Even Song Chunhua could only stay on the 8th floor. When they arrived at the highest floor of the main hall, Song Chunhua knelt down and said loudly, "World Society's Demon Dragon Cavalry, Steel Warrior Army Commander Song Chunhua, greets World Society's leader. Enter." An expressionless voice came from inside the main hall. This was Song Xiao's voice. It was firm, cold, and even sounded unreasonable. "Yes." Song Chunhua stood up and walked inside. Yang Dingtian and the rest followed in. "Who allowed you to enter?" Song Minghua shouted in a low voice. His eyes were filled with anger. but he stood with his back bent and didn't dare to move. The World Society's rules were too strict. It was even stricter than Qin cities. Yang Dingtian ignored him and walked in. Impudent! You dare to behave atrociously in my World Society? Song Minghua suddenly pulled out his sword. Instantly, the knights behind him also pulled out their swords. Logically speaking, Yang Dingtian and the rest were friends brought by Song Chunhua. So Song Minghua shouldn't be like this. However, he still pulled out his sword. It could be seen that his heart was filled with instinctive hostility towards Song Chunhua. Umph. In the main hall, a cold snort sounded, but no one knew who it was directed at. However, Song Minghua seemed to be frightened. He immediately bowed and stood on the spot, not daring to move. Yang Dingtian and the rest followed Song Chunhua into the main hall. This main hall was extremely huge and grand. Yang Dingtian even had a feeling of entering the Athens temple. Moreover, Yang Dingtian could see that the entire main hall was a single entity. There were no traces of building. Soon, Yang Dingtian could see that this main hall was actually carved out of a giant rock. Instantly, Yang Dingtian was speechless. To carve out such a main hall from a mountain, the World Society was actually so domineering. At this moment, the World Society's leader, Song Xiao, was standing in front of the throne at the end of the main hall. This throne was more than 10 meters from the ground. There were dozens of steps, giving people a feeling of supremacy. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but sigh. Even the Northwest Qin city's Qin Wanzhou didn't have such prestige. Daughter Song Chunhua greets father. Song Chunhua lifted her mask, took off her helmet, and knelt on the ground kowtowing. Song Xiao, who was sitting on the high seat, coldly replied. Where have you been these few months? Do you need 4 to 5 months to go to Sky Demon City? In a while, go receive 100 whips, and then be imprisoned for a month. When these words came out, Yang Dingtian was shocked. This Song Chunhua was his daughter, and his most outstanding child. He actually punished her so harshly. At this moment, Song Xiao turned around. Yang Dingtian immediately saw his face. He was very tall, almost 2 meters in Earth's measurement unit. His face was very long, and he could be considered handsome. However, his face was like a stone. His cheeks were like knives, his eyes were sharp, and his nose was straight and curved. There was no expression on his face. At all times, he was strict and solemn. He looked like he would always keep people 1,000 miles away, absolutely cold and emotionless. This kind of person was the most difficult to interact with. Hearing her father's punishment, Song Chunhua was also slightly stunned. She said, Yes. Who did you bring? Didn't their elders teach them etiquette? Song Xiao said coldly. Yang Dingtian and the rest took off their masks and bowed. Cloud Sky City's Mayor Yang Dingtian greets World Society's faction leader Song. Northwest Qin City's Qin Huayu greets World Society's faction leader Song. Black Heaven Sect's Zhu Hongxue greets World Society's faction leader Song. Vulture Palace's Vulture greets World Society's faction leader Song. Hearing these people admit their identities, Song Zhao's gaze froze. His cold and sharp gaze swept across everyone, and finally landed on Yang Dingtian's face. You're that Yang Dingtian that Shimen Wuya picked up? Song Xiao asked. Yang Dingtian frowned slightly and replied. That's right. You're wanted by the Tiando League, but you still swaggered into my World Society. Who gave you the guts to be so arrogant? Song Xiao said coldly. Yang Dingtian frowned. Faction leader Song, are you going to admit to the crimes that were planted on me? You've been wronged. Song Xiao asked coldly. Of course, Yang Dingtian said. What does this have to do with me? Song Xiao said coldly. Not only do I not have any relationship with Cloud Sky City, I only have hatred. Are you here to seek redress? There's no need for that. Before I go back on my words, get the hell out of my city. Otherwise, I don't mind a Cloud Sky City lord dying here. Yang Dingtian's eyes narrowed, and a burst of anger surged in his heart. Father, City Lord Yang Dingtian is my comrade in arms. We've already sworn to live and die together, Song Chunhua said. Did I agree? Song Xiao said coldly. Song Chunhua, you have to remember. Everything you have is given to you by me. You will only have it if I give it to you. If I don't give it to you, you have nothing. From today onwards, You don't have to be the great commander of the Devil Dragon army anymore. Immediately, Song Xiao took away half of Song Chunhua's most important military power. Yes, Song Chunhua said. However, your daughter begs you to let Yang Dingtian finish what he wants to say. Let him finish what he wants to say in front of me. You think too highly of him. Song Zhao's face revealed absolute coldness and arrogance. This kind of arrogance was something that Yang Dingtian had never experienced from Qin Wanshou. Qin Huayu stepped forward and bowed. Reporting to Sect Master Song, Yang Dingtian, Song Chunhua, Zhu Hongxue, and Vulture have already sworn to be brothers in front of tens of thousands of people. We will advance and retreat together. Please give us a chance to speak. Song Xiao looked at Qin Huayu and revealed a cold smile. Yang Dingtian, you are very cunning. You pulled my daughter Qin Huayu and Zhu Hongxue in. You tried to make World Society and Northwest Qin City stand on your side and join your battle group. What a joke. Do you think it will work? Qin Huayu, you can't even protect yourself. You still want to get involved with Yang Dingtian. You are really seeking your own death. Zhu Hongxue, you will soon feel your father's thunderous anger. Song Xiao finally looked at Vulture and didn't express any opinion on her. Get out. Song Xiao coldly shouted. I don't want to say it a third time. Song Chunhua stepped forward and said, Father, these few months, Yang Dingtian brought us into a secret realm. Your daughter's cultivation has already broken through to the 2-star Grandmaster level. Currently, there is no one in the world who can match her in the younger generation. This is all thanks to Yang Dingtian. Song Zhao's face suddenly shook. You have already broken through to the 2-star Grandmaster level? Yes, father. Song Chunhua said. Not only that, Yang Dingtian has saved your daughter's life many times and cleansed Naga's Xian veins for your daughter. Currently, your daughter has almost reached the 9th grade Xian veins. Suddenly Song Zhao's eyes shook. Not only that, Song Chunhua continued. Your daughter has also obtained a heaven-level Xian fire, the Heavenly Phoenix Fire. All of this is thanks to Yang Dingtian. Your daughter is indebted to him. Song Zhao's body shook. He looked at Song Chunhua and said, You have a heaven-level Xian fire? Yes, Song Chunhua said. Not only that, he also gave your daughter a lightning rune. Therefore, every time I use my sword, there will be thunder and lightning. No one can block it. In less than 10 years, there will be no more than 10 people in the world who can match me. The World Association will definitely be stronger and stand firm in the chaotic world. Song Xiao was silent for a moment and asked, Yang Dingtian, what are you doing here? Yang Dingtian did not speak. Qin Huayu stepped forward and said, Sect leader Song, your daughter Song Lihua, is noble and beautiful, virtuous and virtuous. I respect and love her very much. Therefore, I am here to propose marriage to Sect leader Song. Sect leader Song, please allow it. Then Qin Huayu presented the Qiankuan ring with both hands. This is the Qiankuan ring that I obtained in the secret realm. It can reflect all kinds of damage. Its maximum power is equivalent to the cultivation of the wearer. Although it is not as valuable as Miss Song Lihua, it is a token of Qin Huayu's sincerity. I hereby present it to Sect leader Song. Song Zhao's eyes trembled. The Qiankuan ring. There was actually such a treasure in the world. He, Song Xiao, was a 9-star 9th grade Grandmaster. He was only half a step away from becoming a great Grandmaster. But it was difficult for him to advance. Therefore, although he was the overlord of the world, he was still one step away from the top of the world. He was still one step away from the position of Qin Wanshou and Dongfang Minmi. This was his biggest regret. If he wore this Qiankuan ring, it meant that his cultivation was not as high as a great Grandmaster. However, in front of an ordinary great Grandmaster, he might be able to fight. Song Xiao immediately fell into silence. Although they did not say anything, they were very clear in their hearts. On the left was Yang Dingtian. Song Chunhua owed him a great debt of gratitude. If nothing unexpected happened, Song Chunhua would become the most powerful leader of the world society in the past few hundred years. She was very determined to stand on Yang Dingtian's side. Song Xiao had to consider it. On the right was Qin Qiqi and the Ning clan of the South Sea. As for Qin Qiqi, The Ning clan of the South Sea was very powerful. Although Song Xiao was not completely clear, it was already shocking enough. It was so powerful that it made people hold their breaths. After a long time, Song Xiao said indifferently, "Yang Dingtian, you can't win." His meaning was very clear. Although Yang Dingtian owed the world society a great debt of gratitude, although Yang Dingtian's gift was very valuable, and he was very, very moved, he still chose to reject it. Because as a superior, the most important thing was to choose to stand on the side of the winner. "You can leave," Song Xiao said indifferently. "As for the impending war, and the possibility that the world society will fight for the 1,000-mile territory of Cloud Sky City, I apologize to you first." Song Xiao chose to reject. Song Chuanhua's expression changed. She raised her head and said, "Father, no matter what choice you make, I will follow Yang Dingtian. I will follow justice and fight to the end, even if I have to pay with my life." Suddenly Song Xiao's gaze turned cold. The entire hall instantly turned cold. It was extremely oppressive. Song Chuanhua's words were very serious. It directly meant that she was going against Song Xiao. This also meant that if Song Xiao rejected Yang Dingtian, he would lose his most outstanding successor. That would mean the complete decline of the world society. "Song Chunhua, you should know that I will not be threatened by anyone. I will not allow anyone to threaten the safety of the world society. For this, I will do anything, including the thing that I do not want to do the most. For the world society, I can kill anyone," Song Xiao said indifferently. "As long as I don't die, I will definitely follow Yang Dingtian," Song Chunhua said resolutely. Song Xiao slowly extended his hand and said indifferently, "The few of you, the following is a family matter of the world society. Please do as you wish." He was actually going to make a move. He was going to make a move on his own daughter. Yang Dingtian stepped out and said, "Sect leader Song, please wait. I know that anyone will choose to stand on the side of the victor. What if we say we're going to win? That we're going to be the victor? With just you? It's impossible," Song Xiao said indifferently. "I know that Qin Chichi and Ning Wuming have the almost invincible blood pupil army. There are also 9 masters and 1 great master," Yang Dingtian said indifferently. "However, I will still win. Qin Huayu, Song Chunhua, and I are all masters. We also have trump cards that you will not expect, so we will win. You can still stand on the side of the victor." Song Zhao's gaze moved. He then said coldly, "Yang Dingtian, it's useless to rely on your mouth. It won't take long for me to prove it to you," Yang Dingtian said. "You can even symbolically send an army to suppress Cloud Sky City. Song Chunhua can conceal her identity and fight side by side with me. You just need to give Qin Huayu the name of the engagement, and let us rope in sect leader Qin Wanqiu. When the war ends and we lose, you can back out of the engagement at any time. If we win, we will immediately announce Song Chunhua's identity. No matter what, you will stand on the side of the victor. In other words, you can wait until the war ends before you officially choose a side. Now just give us a chance. How about it?" Suddenly, Song Zhao's gaze moved. It was obvious that Yang Dingtian's suggestion moved him. This way, he could indeed be in an invincible position. Of course, this way, he might not be able to obtain the 1,000 miles of territory of Cloud Sky City. However, in comparison, an incomparably powerful successor of the world society was perhaps more important. At this moment, the little Princess Vulture suddenly said, "In any case, our Vulture Palace was completely on Yang Dingtian's side." Song Xiao glanced at the Vulture Palace. Everyone in the world knew how powerful and mysterious Wolingzi was. In fact, everyone in the world had a concept in their hearts. In this world, if there was a so-called half-saint expert, other than Wu Yu from the Sea of Hades, it would be Wolingzi from the Vulture Palace. This decision was really difficult to make. To be honest, Song Xiao could not imagine that Yang Dingtian had actually broken through to the master level. Song Xiao was very clear about what it meant to break through to the master level at such a young age. If he chose to be enemies with Yang Dingtian this time, and Yang Dingtian happened to not die this time, then 10 years later, the consequences would be very terrible. Perhaps it would be the destruction of the world society. Yang Dingtian's posture was completely the posture of the future number one person in the world. Song Xiao knew how terrible it was to offend the future number one person in the world. Moreover, he could not imagine that young Dingtian had actually brought along the little princess of the Vulture Palace, and Zhu Hongxue. These were the strongest youths in the world with the noblest status. They were actually united with Yang Dingtian as the core. Song Xiao was also very clear about the weight of this. Suddenly, the balance in Song Xiao's heart gradually slid towards Yang Dingtian's side. At this moment, an extremely pleasant voice suddenly came from outside. Wu Maji from the Ning clan of the South Sea is here to pay a visit to sect leader Song of the World Society. Yang Dingtian suddenly trembled. Wu Maji. She actually came. This time, it was the real Wu Maji from the Ning clan of the South Sea, not Qinji in disguise. Chapter 433. Wu Maji did not come alone. She was followed by 4 people. These 4 people were wrapped in white robes. Their heads were also wrapped in white cloth, and even their faces were also wrapped in white cloth, revealing only 2 deep eye sockets. These people were very familiar. Back then, the people that Ning Wuming sent to kill Yang Dingtian and Bing Ling in Sky Devil City were dressed in the same way. These 4 people were the elders of the Ning clan in the South Sea. Yang Dingtian finally saw the real Wu Maji. She was completely different from Qinji. Or rather, even their race was different. After coming to the chaotic world, Yang Dingtian saw that most of the people were yellow, but the half-human race was slightly different. But overall, they were basically the same as the Chinese people on Earth. However, Wu Maji was completely different. She had completely different eyes. Her eyes were big and deep, and her pupils were a little brown, a little green, and even a little purple. Qinji's eyes were mesmerizing. However, after seeing Wu Maji's eyes, he realized that they were truly mesmerizing. That soul-stirring beauty, that profound mystery. Yang Dingtian felt that these eyes were made up of the most beautiful parts of the eyes of the Arabian and Persian women on Earth, plus the eyes of the Caucasian women on Earth. Moreover, she had a high nose bridge that other women did not have. That kind of beauty brought her extraordinary beauty, and it made her eyes even more mysterious and deep. However, the only parts of her face that could be seen were her eyes and the bridge of her nose. The rest of her face was covered by a veil. Even her head was wrapped in a headscarf. This kind of dressing was similar to that of a woman in the Middle East, and she looked very conservative. But in reality, that was not the case. Because her body, from her waist to her navel, and even her lower abdomen was naked. She had a slim waist like a snake, and her skin was the color of honey. She was full of exotic charm and incomparable allure. The combination of strength and weakness, the combination of sex appeal and mystery, had an incomparable impact on men. The lower half of her body was wearing brocade trousers. From the waist to the thighs, it was tight and clingy, and below the knees, it was loose like a skirt. Complicated and mysterious carvings were embroidered on his trousers using gold and silk. The bodice was decorated with beautiful and luxurious gems. This woman really had a devilish figure and devilish seduction. Among all the women that Yang Dingtian had met, she was the most exotic and mysterious. This kind of extreme temptation was the most alluring. After entering the hall, Wu Maji did not even spare a glance at Yang Dingtian and the others. As for Song Xiao, he was also dazzled by her dazzling and mysterious light. His eyes instantly blurred. It could be said that he had seen countless people, and had seen all kinds of beautiful women. However, when he saw Wu Maji, he felt as if his eyes were being pierced, and his heart was being squeezed. Southern Seas Ning Clan, Wu Maji greets world meets sovereign song. She bowed slightly, the curves of her back and buttocks were breathtaking. Madam Wu, what's the matter? Song Xiao asked. I heard that Miss Song Lihua is beautiful and generous. I represent the Ning clan's young master to propose marriage to Miss Song Lihua. Wu Maji said straightforwardly. Yang Dingtian and the others were stunned. This Ning Wuming was too shameless. He had already married Qin Chichi, and now he wanted to propose marriage to Song Lihua. Of course, Yang Dingtian was not much better on this point. He had already married Yin Yan, but he still wanted to marry Qin Chichi. However, Song Xiao was extremely arrogant. Wu Maji's words instantly hurt him. He said coldly, "The women of my world meet are not so cheap." Wu Maji said, "If it can be done, when we attack Cloud Sky City in the future, the 1,000 miles of land will not only belong to the world meet. My Ning clan's Yin Chaos Demonic Turbidity will also belong to the world meet. We will use Yinyan's life to threaten Yang Dingtian, to hand over the Yin Yang Reincarnation Crystal, and then hand it over to the world meet. This way, the world meet will have the Celestial Qi Condensation Purification Array." When she said this, Song Zhao's breathing stopped. Obviously, this was an extremely huge temptation. Not only that, Miss Ning Bai of the Ning clan of the South Sea will agree to marry young Master Song Minghua. Also, we are willing to help young Master Song Minghua break through to the master stage in the shortest time possible. Wu Maji continued. Also, we heard that Sect Master Song Xiao has been stuck at the 9-star level 9 master stage. He is only half a step away from the Grandmaster stage, but he is still unable to break through. We are willing to guarantee that as long as you agree to the marriage, we will help you break through to the Grandmaster stage within half a year. Wu Maji concluded. After she finished speaking, she fell into silence. She was not a good negotiator, because she did not know how to bargain. She directly gave out the biggest and most shocking price. However, she was a domineering negotiator, and no one could resist her at all. Even immortals would be tempted by this condition, let alone mortals. The Celestial Qi Condensation Array, Song Minghua breaking through to the Master stage, and Song Xiao breaking through to the Grandmaster stage. This condition completely suppressed Yang Dingtian's condition. The most Yang Dingtian could give was to cooperate with the world society to build a Celestial Qi Condensation Array and an interspatial ring. The interspatial ring was very powerful, but it was nothing compared to breaking through to the Grandmaster stage. What made Yang Dingtian even more speechless was that Wu Maji repeatedly said that she would destroy Cloud Sky City in front of Yang Dingtian. She even said that she would use Yinyan's life to threaten Yang Dingtian to hand over the Yin Yang Reincarnation Crystal. It was as if Yang Dingtian did not exist, or she did not even know Yang Dingtian. Song Zhao's body trembled, his eyes shone with a shocking light, and even his breathing became rapid. Soon, he gradually calmed himself down. Then, he looked at Yang Dingtian. He was no longer as cold as before. Instead, he became gentle. "Nephew, let me think about what you said, okay?" Song Xiao said warmly. Yang Dingtian knew in his heart that today was just a simple negotiation, and the situation was already lost. "Father!" Song Chunhua shouted loudly. "All right, Chunhua, stay here. Your mother has something to say to you." Song Xiao said. "Men, send these guests to the hotel to rest." "Yes." A voice came from outside. Then a middle-aged man came in and said to Yang Dingtian, "This way, please." Zhu Hongxue was unwilling. He felt that his identity as a genius was being ignored here. He immediately said, "Uncle Master Song, you should think about everything carefully before making a decision." Suddenly, Song Zhao's eyes turned cold, but he said with a smile, "When you become the Black Heaven sect leader, it won't be too late to talk to me like this." Wu Maji, on the other hand, completely ignored Zhu Hongxue, who was a genius. Suddenly she said calmly, "Young Master Zhu, your father just visited the Ning clan a few days ago." Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. Zhu Hongxue was stunned. He did not know why his father, as the Black Heaven sect leader, went to the Ning clan in the South Sea. He was about to retort with a cold smile, saying that the Ning clan in the South Sea was nothing. Yang Dingtian grabbed his arm and said, "All right, let's go back first." Then, Yang Dingtian let everyone out of the main hall. Song Chunhua also wanted to follow. "Chunhua, you haven't been home for half a year. Shouldn't you pay your mother a visit?" Song Xiao said coldly. Song Chunhua immediately fell into a dilemma. Come find us later," Yang Dingtian said. "By the way, we'll wait for you for dinner." Song Chunhua nodded. Yang Dingtian's meaning was clear. She must find Yang Dingtian before dinner. Then, the middle-aged man led Yang Dingtian and the others out of the main hall and down the stairs. The highest level hotel was on the 8th floor. However, the middle-aged man did not stop on the 8th floor. He did not stop on the 7th floor either. As they walked down, Zhu Hongxue was about to explode in anger. When had he ever been treated like this? As the young master of the Black Sky sect, no matter where he went, the leaders of the sects would give their houses to Zhu Hongxue to show their respect, let alone the highest level hotel. In the end, the middle-aged man led Yang Dingtian to the first floor of Ba City. That's right, it was the first floor, the lowest level. The people who lived here were the low-level strongmen and servants of the world society. Therefore, it was noisy and filled with the smell of animal feces. This was completely going too far. And it was even a naked humiliation. Zhu Hongxue's face was cold. He did not say a word, and was about to leave. Yang Dingtian grabbed him and said, "What are you doing? I'm not serving you anymore. You can tolerate it, but I can't," Zhu Hongxue said. "If you can't even tolerate this now, how can you hold your head high in the future? Do you know how powerful the Ning clan in the South Sea is? Do you know how many people want to sell themselves to them? Do you know how powerful our enemy is? Are you going to give up before the battle has even started?" Yang Dingtian said. Instantly, Zhu Hongxue fell silent. His expression was still ugly, but he did not say that he was leaving. At this time, it could be seen that although the little princess Vulture was naive and playful, she was very smart. She did not say a word. Although she was dissatisfied, it was as if nothing had happened. The middle-aged man led Yang Dingtian and the others to a so-called hotel. Yang Dingtian and the others dared to walk in, but they were almost pushed back by the smell of sweat inside. Inside there were over 100 rough men and strong men eating. The food they were eating was all very crude. These people were all laborers in Ba City, so they were arranged to stay in the lowest level of the so-called hotel. Therefore, everyone's clothes were ragged and they stank of sweat. Yang Dingtian was fine, but the little princess could not stand it at all. She retched and was almost about to vomit. Yang Dingtian quickly stuffed a pill into the little girl's mouth. The little girl hurriedly took it and put it under her nose. When they saw Yang Dingtian and the others, the laborers were stunned. How could such a luxuriously dressed person stay in such a noble place? The middle-aged man said to the head of the hotel, "Pick the best room and invite a few distinguished guests." "Yes, sir." Then, the head of the hotel brought Yang Dingtian to the so-called best room. 5 people to a room, and there was only one large bed. The bedding on it was emitting a rotten smell. The tables, stools, and beds were all glossy and shiny. They had been soaked in sweat and oil for many years. The head of the hotel nodded and bowed as he left. "Wait," Yang Dingtian said. The head of the hotel trembled. Of course, he knew that these people were distinguished people that he could not afford to offend. However, if the higher-ups wanted to humiliate them, he could not do anything about it. Yang Dingtian took out a gold coin and said, "You've worked hard." The head of the hotel was stunned. A gold coin was half a year's salary. Immediately, he knelt on the ground and kowtowed without saying anything. Then he left respectfully. Song Xiao is humiliating us like this because he wants us to leave in a fit of anger. He wants us to give up. Yang Dingtian said. He has already made up his mind. He is very tempted by Wu Maji's suggestion. However, he is not willing to admit that he is a greedy person. Yes, Qin Huayu nodded. Then what should we do? Do we just stay here and let him humiliate us? Zhu Hongxue asked. Of course not, Yang Dingtian said calmly. It's good to stay here. There are crooks mixed in with the honest folk, and there is freedom. Yang Dingtian summoned the million-spirit demonic fire, which turned into countless resentful spirits and flew out. This way, he would know if there was any movement within a few miles. He was not afraid that someone would eavesdrop. We have already lost the negotiation with Song Xiao. We can't give more than Wu Maji, Yang Dingtian said. However, it is impossible to give up. Therefore, we have to find another way. Next, we will take 2 steps. First, I will go invisible and find Song Lihua later. I will explain to her that she will agree to marry Qin Huayu. It will be best if we can do it in the shortest time possible, Yang Dingtian said. Yang Dingtian, you are despicable. Little Princess Vulture could not help but say. Then, she stuck out her tongue and said, All right, as long as you don't do that to me. Yang Dingtian glared at her. This little girl was being impudent when Song Chunhua was not here. Qin Huayu's face turned red, but he said seriously, "As long as Miss Song Lihua is willing, I am willing to love and protect her for the rest of my life." "All right," Yang Dingtian said. "If Song Lihua's attitude is very positive, then we will proceed to the second step. We will force Song Xiao to take a stand so that he has no choice." "How do we force him to take a stand?" Zhu Hongxue said. "The five of us together should not be a match for Song Xiao alone. In for a penny, in for a pound. Song Chunhua will lead us to kill Wu Maji and everyone she brought. Of course, we will not kill all of them. Leave one to report to the Ning clan," Yang Dingtian said. As soon as these words came out, everyone was suddenly shocked. Kill Wu Maji? Kill Wu Maji in front of Song Xiao in the World Gathering? Even Qin Huayu could not help but look at him. Yang Dingtian was always so ruthless and decisive when he encountered something major. If it was really like what Yang Dingtian said, and Song Chunhua brought people to kill Wu Maji, then Song Zhao's escape route would be severed. He would have no other choice but to stand on Yang Dingtian's side. "Do you agree with this two-step plan?" Yang Dingtian asked. Qin Huayu said, "When the time comes, the consequences may be very serious. We have to cut off all means of retreat. At this time, we can only see who is more decisive," Yang Dingtian said. "I agree," Qin Huayu said. "You are the leader. You make all the decisions." "I agree." Vulture's beautiful eyes burned with impulsive flames. It was obvious that Yang Dingtian's suggestion was to her liking. She even added, "Yang Dingtian, I didn't expect you to be so cool at such a crucial moment. I thought you had always been such a hypocrite." Yang Dingtian pretended not to hear the second half of the girl's sentence and looked at Zhu Hongxue. "Okay, kill her," Zhu Hongxue said coldly. He had enough today and only wanted to vent. "Good, then it's decided," Yang Dingtian said. "I will go see Song Lihua in a while." At this moment, the countless wraiths outside suddenly surged. Someone was coming. Not long after, the head of the hotel came and gently knocked on the door. Then he said, "Honorable guests, young Master Song Minghua has sent a large number of warriors to surround the hotel. You must be careful." "Yes, I know. Thank you," Yang Dingtian said. The head of the hotel felt warm in his heart. Yang Dingtian's words of thanks seemed to carry more weight than the gold coin just now. To him, such a big shot was completely in the sky. He wouldn't even look at an ant like him from the corner of his eye. First, he gave the gold coin. Then he said he had never felt such a big shot's attitude towards him in his life. Soon, hundreds of fully armed soldiers surrounded the entire hotel. Then there was the sound of boots shaking the ground. Outside the door, Song Minghua said arrogantly and coldly, "Open the door." Then the door was opened. Song Minghua, who was fully clad in black armor, looked coldly at Yang Dingtian and the others. "I know what you're thinking, but don't be delusional. Don't try to touch my world society. Don't try to do anything in my world society's territory. I'll keep an eye on you. Stay here obediently and don't take a step out. Otherwise I won't be polite," Song Minghua said coldly. Zhu Hongxue said angrily, "You dare to talk to me like this? Do you know who I am?" "Black Sky Sect, Zhu Hongxue," Song Minghua said indifferently. "If it was in the past, I would have to lower my head when talking to you. But now, you're standing together with Yang Dingtian. You're doomed. Even if you can turn back, you don't have much of a future. Zhu Hongxue, times have changed. The order of the past needs to be rebuilt." Yang Dingtian nodded and said, "Thank you for your advice, young Master Song." "You're right to call me young Master Song." Song Minghua smiled and said, "Song Chunhua is a woman after all. She can't be the leader of the world society. Don't be delusional. Also, Yang Dingtian, if you want to die, go die yourself. Why do you have to drag others down with you? Of course, I don't care if you drag others down with you, but don't drag my world society into it." Yang Dingtian smiled slightly. Song Minghua nodded and said, "I've heard of your genius deeds. In just a few years, you broke through to revered martial artist. You're amazing, but that's all. I broke through to revered martial artist from profound martial artist in 3 months. All right, I'll take my leave." Song Minghua pointed at his eyes and said, "Don't act blindly without thinking. Don't take a step out of the room. I'll keep an eye on you." Zhu Hongshua's lungs were about to explode. Why is he so arrogant? Why? Zhu Hongxue said sternly, because he's about to become the son-in-law of the Ning clan. He'll become the lackey of the nefarious demon crown prince, Yang Dingtian said. Little Princess Vulture's beautiful eyes turned and said, "Yang Dingtian, do you want to kill Song Minghua? This way, Song Xiao will have no choice but to let Sister Chunhua inherit the world society." Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and said, "I'll think about it." Qin Huayu was stunned. He thought that Yang Dingtian would refute him directly. He didn't expect Yang Dingtian to seriously say that he would think about it. "Let's not kill him for now. The gains won't make up for the losses," Yang Dingtian said. At this moment, Zhu Hongxue suddenly asked, "Yang Dingtian, did my father really go to the Ning clan of the South Sea?" Zhu Hongshue's attitude was very serious. There was even an inexplicable fear and trembling in his eyes. Yang Dingtian immediately fell into hesitation. He didn't know if he should tell him the truth. This person was too sensitive, too fragile, too proud and conceited. He had already broken down once. Yang Dingtian didn't want him to break down a second time. "Zhu Hongxue, I'll tell you two things," Yang Dingtian said. "First, your pride should come from your will, talent, character, and heart. Not because of your identity, and definitely not because of your father. No matter what your father or your identity changes, it can't break your pride. Second, I won't say anything about your father. I want you to see with your own eyes, and judge with your own heart." After hearing Yang Dingtian's words, Zhu Hongxue suddenly trembled, and his eyes became hot. Yang Dingtian's first sentence really went straight to his heart, and directly shook his heart. There were some things that he didn't even know, but Yang Dingtian said it directly. It made his heart suddenly light up as if he had become strong. This feeling of instant confidence was too good. Then Yang Dingtian said, "Let me say the third thing. As long as you don't betray us, we will never betray you. When you need us, even if the whole world betrays you, we are willing to give up everything for you, even our lives." Instantly, Zhu Hongshue's eyes turned red, his breathing became rough, and his whole body trembled slightly. "All right, time is of the essence. I won't be emotional." Yang Dingtian smiled and said, "Now there are Song Lihua's soldiers outside. We don't want to act rashly and alert the enemy. You guys stay inside and don't move. I will go invisible and find Song Lihua and try to persuade her." Then, Yang Dingtian directly used the mystic invisibility skill and left the room. After he left, little Princess Vulture suddenly said, "Wow! I feel that Yang Dingtian's brainwashing skills are very powerful. Unknowingly, I lost my position and actually followed him." Although this was too direct, it was still acceptable. The little girl's next words made Yang Dingtian unable to accept it. Sigh. Luckily Yang Dingtian only knows how to brainwash people to gain faith, and not to gain sex. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if I lose my position, but if I lose my chastity, I will be finished. Yang Dingtian, who had not gone far, decided that he must not let Song Chunhua be too far away from the little girl in the future. This little girl, he must not leave her alone or not hit her. Song Lihua was the one and only princess of the world, the apple of Song Zhao's eye, and his most beloved child. Originally, only Song Xiao and his wife were allowed to live on the 9th floor of Ba City. Even Song Chunhua could only live on the 8th floor. And Song Lihua, the number one beauty in the north, was the only daughter who lived on the 9th floor. At this moment, she was in a beautiful small building, supporting her chin, looking at the distant scenery and sighing softly. Then, she walked to the table, picked up a brush, dipped it in ink and started to draw. Suddenly, a shadow moved in front of her. "Who?" Song Lihua cried out. Then she held the brush in her hand tightly and pressed it against her chest. Chapter 434. Cloud Sky City Lord, Yang Dingtian, greets Miss Song Lihua. Yang Dingtian directly appeared and bowed to her in the safest way possible. He must not let her feel threatened at all. "Oh, it's you." Song Lihua's face was pale, but the fear and vigilance in her beautiful eyes relaxed. It was as if she had heard of Yang Dingtian before. Song Lihua was very beautiful, and she was a very typical Oriental beauty. She should be very similar to Chen Yuanyuan, and she sure's type. Delicate, charming and beautiful. It filled people with an endless desire to protect her. Any man with great power would want nothing more than to snatch her into their own room and pamper her endlessly. She and Song Chunhua were both women, but she seemed to have used up all the charm of the Song family's daughter. However, Yang Dingtian only took a glance at her peerless peach blossom face before he looked towards the ground. This was because a man directly appearing in a girl's room already gave her a huge sense of danger. Is there something you need? Song Lihua asked. She did not question Yang Dingtian's rude intrusion. Yang Dingtian thought for a while and said, "First, I want to make it clear that no matter how nice my words sound, they are actually offensive to Mississippi." Yes. Song Lihua nodded. Miss should have heard that Qin Huayu and I are here to propose to Mississippi, Yang Dingtian said. And Wu Maji of the South Seas Ning clan is also proposing to Miss on behalf of Ning Wuming. I rudely barged into Miss's room, just to win Miss's favor, and make your heart more biased towards Qin Huayu. Compared to the South Seas Ning clan, you have already won some of my favor, Song Lihua said. Yang Dingtian was stunned and expressed that he did not understand. Because City Lord Yang specially came in front of me to win my favor. This in itself is a form of respect for me, unlike others, who only fight for my father's will and do not care about my thoughts, Song Lihua said. Miss, you're so pure and innocent, Yang Dingtian said. City Lord Yang, can I ask you a few questions? Song Lihua asked. Miss, please speak, Yang Dingtian said. Is my marriage to Qin Huayu very important to you? Song Lihua asked. Very important, Yang Dingtian said. We are in a very, very weak position. Our enemy is extremely powerful, probably hundreds of times stronger than us. I dragged Qin Huayu down with me. I dragged your sister Song Chunhua down with me. And now I've dragged Zhu Hongxue down with me. The reason why I want Qin Huayu to marry Miss is because I want to drag the world society and your father into the water and make him stand on our side. After that, he would be able to influence the Northwest Qin City Lord, Qin Wanchou. This is the only way the Western continent will not fall. Will you guys win? Song Lihua asked. I don't know. We might win a battle, but we can only buy time. Unless we have a few transcendental grandmasters, or even sage experts, it will be very difficult for us to win the war, Yang Dingtian said. Everything I'm doing now is to do my best to prevent the Western continent from falling before the Armageddon army arrives. Are they the evil ways? Song Lihua asked. Yes, Yang Dingtian said. How powerful are they? Song Lihua asked. Dongfang Bingling demonized into the princess of the evil ways. Her cultivation instantly soared to the level of a grandmaster. The nefarious crown Prince Li Ming had effortlessly subdued Leng Qingshan, a martial grandmaster. The hidden sex master, Nihility Piaoling, became the devil queen. The black heaven sex master, Zhu Qingzhu, has already betrayed us. The demon king Wentian is about to be resurrected. The day of his resurrection will be the day of the invasion of tens of millions of demons. Yang Dingtian said. On my side there are only me Qin Huayu, Song Chunhua, Zhu Hongxue and Vulture. Your father and Qin Wanchou are sitting on the fence, or have already decided to surrender. What a disparity in power. Song Lihua said. I really don't see any hope of winning. But if you're here to persuade me, why are you telling me the truth? Aren't you afraid that I'll shrink back in fear when the situation is so bleak? Yang Dingtian fell into silence and said, Perhaps. I am also waiting for you to shrink back and be afraid. Why? Song Lihua was shocked. To win. The left side of my brain wants me to do whatever it takes. But the right side of my brain doesn't want to hurt the innocent people in front of you. Yang Dingtian said. If you choose us, it might mean a terrible end. Do you guys represent justice? Song Lihua asked. Yes, without a doubt, we represent justice. Yang Dingtian said. But no justice is more important than family. City Lord Yang Dingtian, you're different from what I thought. Song Lihua said. When you married Qin Jiaojiao, I thought you were a typical big shot. You thought about problems from a high point of view, only talking about the pros and cons, and your rationality was greater than your emotions. I want to be that kind of person, but it's hard to do, Yang Dingtian said. To be honest, if it wasn't for my weakness in certain aspects, Dongfang Bingling wouldn't have become the evil princess. She asked me to kill her, but I couldn't do it. So evil ways have an incomparably powerful force. Song Lihua said. Then I'll ask the second question. Miss, please ask. Yang Dingtian said. I heard that Qin Huayu has a dishonorable past when it comes to relationships. Song Lihua said. What's the relationship between the woman beside him, Ning Ro? A few years ago, he was young and successful. He thought that he was ruthless, cold, and conceited. So he raped Ning Ro and brought her incomparably great harm. Yang Dingtian said. Ah! Song Lihua exclaimed, her little hands clenched tightly together. It was obvious that Qin Huayu's rape of Ning Ro had frightened her. Yang Dingtian continued. But people usually don't understand themselves. Qin Huayu thought that he was cold and ruthless, but in reality he wasn't. This matter directly tore apart the fake coldness in his heart, causing him to become weaker and weaker in terms of emotions, more and more inferior. Even though he later brought Ning Ro over, he could never raise his head in front of Ning Ro. He felt that he wasn't worthy of her at all, or even any good woman. So they were in a very tangled relationship, even though they had a very cute daughter. But Ning Ro wasn't willing to marry, so Qin Huayu didn't dare to marry her. Following that, Yang Dingtian said, but I can guarantee that all these years, Qin Huayu only had Ning Ro as his woman. In terms of pure feelings, he was much better than me. On the contrary, I was overflowing with fickleness, and even had a trace of hypocrisy. Song Lihua said, then, I want to ask the third question, which is also the last question. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, Miss, please ask. Song Lihua said, if I marry Qin Huayu, what kind of life will I live? Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and said, this question is really difficult for me to answer. Because what Qin Huayu will probably face next is battle, battle, and battle. It's even possible that he won't even be able to return to Qin City. Even if you marry over, you might have to live in Cloud Sky City instead. Of course, that's if Cloud Sky City doesn't fall. If Cloud Sky City falls, then you might become homeless. Of course, if the situation isn't so bad, you should still spend most of your time writing and drawing. Qin Huayu probably won't have much time to accompany you, but he should release his infinite love for you from the bottom of his heart. He feels that he's not good enough for you. If you marry him, you should feel like you picked him up and brought him home. However, you can continue to create as you wish. Qin Huayu will devote himself wholeheartedly to appreciate your talent. Okay, I'm done with my questions, Song Lihua said. Following that, Song Lihua's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of mischief. She said, oh right, can I ask another question? I'm just curious. You don't have to answer. Okay, Yang Dingtian said. If I agree, what do you plan to do next? How do you plan to persuade my father? Song Lihua said. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian fell into hesitation. If he told Song Lihua the truth, and she reported it to Song Xiao, Yang Dingtian would be in trouble. However, if he didn't say it, Song Lihua was the kind of person who was the most sensitive and had the highest need for sincerity. If he lied to her, the consequences would be very serious. If Miss agrees, we'll make it look like the rice has been cooked. Then we'll let Song Chunhua take the lead to kill Wu Maji, so that your father has no way out, Yang Dingtian said. Ah! Song Lihua exclaimed, looking at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. Then she smiled. City Lord Yang, you're really not a qualified leader. You shouldn't tell me this kind of top secret. If I'm even a little untrustworthy, the consequences will be too serious. Yes, you think so too now, Yang Dingtian said. Then Yang Dingtian said, then I'll take my leave first. Miss, think about it carefully. No need, I agree. I'm willing to marry Qin Huayu, Song Lihua said. So fast, Yang Dingtian said. No matter what noble reason you use, as long as you decide a girl's lifelong happiness because of benefits, it's not a noble thing in itself. From the beginning to the end, you didn't use nobility and justice to suppress me, Song Lihua said. Maybe that's just a more cunning method of mine, Yang Dingtian said. Miss, why did you agree so quickly? Song Chunhua is an extremely proud, noble, and righteous person, Song Lihua said. I often laugh at her for being silly, but I admire her the most. Of all the people in the family, I love her the most. She's so loyal to you and follows you so wholeheartedly, which surprised me. It also made me curious about you. That's why I asked you 3 questions. I want to understand you. I want to understand you. And the result? Yang Dingtian asked. The result is that I envy you, Song Lihua said. Even though you don't talk about justice and nobility, you're an expert for justice. This kind of loneliness makes me admire you very much. I really want to join you and become an amazing person. But this is related to your marriage, Yang Dingtian said. Without feelings, you'll never be happy. Song Lihua's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of craftiness. City Lord Yang, I'll ask you another question. Between you and Qin Huayu, who will I fall in love with? Yang Dingtian's face immediately turned red. He waved his hand and said, I'm not qualified to answer this question right now. Song Lihua laughed and said, As a leader, I admire you very much. You're not only noble and righteous, but you're also flesh and blood, not cold and heartless. But as a man, I really don't admire your type. You're fickle in love. You seem to be single-minded, but you're actually overflowing with ambiguity. I really don't like these. Men are either overbearing and openly fickle in love, or they're single-minded and deeply devoted. I really don't like men like you. I like men with scars like Qin Huayu. Song Lihua hit the nail on the head, making Yang Dingtian feel a little embarrassed. As if she wasn't satisfied, Song Lihua continued. Actually, if you just choose a man, even if Zhu Hongxue is conceited and naive, he's much better than you in terms of feelings. With that, Song Lihua let out a long breath and said, All right, thank you for letting me say these words. At that time, I heard that you married Shimin Yanyan, married Qin Jiaojiao, and then ran off to be with Dongfang Bingling. I was really angry, and even thought of writing a letter to scold you. With that, Song Lihua stuck out her tongue and said, I'm sorry, but I'm just a person who likes to take things seriously and go down a dead end. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but say, You and your sister are actually the same kind of people. You're both stubborn and persistent, but the direction is different. All right, you can go back, Song Lihua said. I'll think of a way to see you guys and Qin Huayu now. I'll make it look like what's done is done. Yang Dingtian was stunned again. He realized that he really didn't understand women. Then I'll go and ask Qin Huayu to wait. Yang Dingtian. Then he used his invisibility mystic skill and left. Soon, Yang Dingtian appeared in front of Qin Huayu, Zhu Hongxue, and the others. Zhu Hongxue didn't look too concerned, but Qin Huayu's face was filled with nervousness and uneasiness. Little Princess Vulture directly grabbed Yang Dingtian's arm and said, How was it? How was it? What was her attitude? Did she agree? Instantly, Qin Huayu's lips began to tremble. Indeed, he had fallen into an absolute inferiority complex when it came to relationships. She agreed, Yang Dingtian said. Really? Little Princess Vulture said. Qin Huayu's body suddenly shook, and his eyes revealed a look of disbelief. Yang Dingtian, could it be that she took a fancy to you, and then made a huge sacrifice to agree to marry Qin Huayu? Little Princess Vulture said. Instantly, Qin Huayu's face turned pale. The little girl also seemed to know that she had said something wrong, and immediately slapped her mouth in regret. Yang Dingtian said with a wry smile, Today is probably the most embarrassing day of my life. I'm completely ashamed by Miss Song Lihua's words. Then, Yang Dingtian stepped forward and patted Qin Huayu's shoulder, saying, Senior brother Qin, you'll know in a while. You're on your own now. This girl, I guarantee you'll be eaten by her. She's too powerful. Qin Huayu's face immediately regained its color, and then he became even more embarrassed, saying, I am actually not worthy of her. If it wasn't because I needed her, I really wouldn't dare to do anything to her. Then Qin Huayu said, How about we just marry in name? I guarantee that I won't dare to violate her in any way. Yang Dingtian said. That, you have the final say. However, I suspect that you don't have the final say. Prepare well, she's coming to see you soon, and she said that she wants to cook the rice. Instantly, Qin Huayu's face turned red, like a cooked shrimp, and he fell into absolute unease. Song Lihua's arrival was faster than expected. When she came to the hotel, she was wearing a cloak and a veil. But when she walked in, she lifted the veil and took off the cloak. Her graceful curves and beautiful face were completely exposed in front of everyone. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, all the men in the lobby were stunned, and all the things in their hands fell to the ground. Then it wasn't a burning gaze, but an incomparable shame. They desperately retreated and rubbed their hands on their clothes, afraid that the stench on their bodies would suffocate her. The lobby was very smelly, but Song Lihua didn't even frown. Instead, she smiled at the slaves. Suddenly, the entire lobby seemed to have bloomed like flowers. Everyone would remember this moment forever, as if they had really seen a fairy. Soon, Song Lihua came directly to Yang Dingtian's room. Then she greeted them one by one. Then she said to Yang Dingtian, City Lord Yang, can you leave me alone with Qin Huayu for a while? Of course, Yang Dingtian said. Then, he pulled the reluctant, envious, and jealous little princess out of the room in Vulture. Song Lihua closed the door directly. Qin Huayu, who was inside, couldn't even breathe. She looked extremely miserable. They stood in the aisle. The little Princess Vulture felt a huge blow and muttered to herself, There is no good woman in the Song family. One day, I will disfigure all the women who are more beautiful than me. Then she asked, Yang Dingtian, do you think that if I start cultivating now, my charm will surpass Song Lihua one day? Yang Dingtian shook his head honestly. The little girl went forward and gave Yang Dingtian a ruthless kick. Of course, there was no strange sound in the room at this time. They were just talking. With Yang Dingtian's cultivation, it was easy for him to hear. However, it was also easy for him to make himself completely deaf. Only the little Princess Vulture tilted her ear, intending to eavesdrop. Yang Dingtian pulled her small ears and didn't allow her to listen to it. The little princess stomped her foot and said, Yang Dingtian, don't touch a girl's ear. This is my sensitive area, second only to my chest. If you touch it like this, do you still have my chastity? Suddenly, Yang Dingtian was speechless and quickly let go. He really didn't mean it. The longer he stayed with this girl, the less he treated her as a woman. He completely treated her like a child. That was why he reached out and pulled her ear. Look at Zhu Hongxue. How handsome, how cool, how elegant, how elegant, how elegant. The little girl said, Look at you. In any case, the gap between you and Zhu Hongxue is bigger than the gap between me and Song Lihua. There are at least 2 or 3 Qinjis between you. The little girl wanted to drag Yang Dingtian down with her when she suffered a blow. In the face of such praise, Zhu Hongxue's face was still cold. He had been praised since he was young. That's right. Men are golden on the outside but rotten on the inside. After interacting with him for a few days, I also know that Zhu Hongxue is childish and has no inner qualities. But he's handsome. As long as a man is handsome, anything can be forgiven. Yang Dingtian, you're not handsome and have no inner qualities. This is a sin. The little Princess Vulture continued. Zhu Hongxue frowned and turned his face away. Yang Dingtian pretended that he didn't hear anything. Am I talking about myself? The little Princess Vulture said uneasily. I'm not as pretty as Song Lihua, and I'm not gentle or charming. I can't learn Qin Jiaojiao's big breasts and brainless unruliness, and I'm not as cute as Big Grandma Shimen. As a woman, am I hopeless? Am I really hopeless? Yang Dingtian and Zhu Hongxue looked at each other and resisted the urge to sew the little girl's mouth shut. No, no, the little Princess Vulture muttered to herself again. Yang Dingtian has no inner qualities and is not handsome. His position among men is even worse than my position among women. But he has so many beautiful women who like him. I'm definitely better than him. Soon, the little girl found a way to comfort herself. Yang Dingtian couldn't take it anymore and wanted to pinch her little mouth. Right at this moment, there was a sudden burst of angry footsteps from outside. Then, Song Minghua rushed in and pointed at Yang Dingtian's nose angrily. Where did you take my sister? Yang Dingtian, please put your finger down. Yang Dingtian, if you dare to do anything to my sister, I won't let you off the hook. I guarantee that you won't leave the World Club alive. Song Minghua said. Then he rushed over and kicked the door open. The door opened before it was kicked open. Song Lihua opened the door. She tidied up her clothes, tidied up her messy hair, and gently wiped the rouge at the corner of her mouth. Second brother, what's wrong? This woman was really a top-notch actress. She didn't do anything inside. Her performance at this moment made people believe that she had done everything. What did you do? Song Minghua asked in disbelief. It's just as you think, Song Lihua said. Bitch, you bitch. Song Minghua slapped her. Song Lihua raised her chin and let Song Minghua slap her. At this moment, Qin Huayu rushed over and kicked at Song Minghua. Song Minghua miserably dodged Qin Huayu's foot. His entire body trembled as he pointed at Song Lihua and said, You slut, you've caused a disaster. You'll destroy our world society. You bitch, you shameless bitch, come back with me. I'll make father throw you into the river and drown you alive. You don't have to say that. Song Lihua said. I'll go see father now and tell him that Qin Huayu and I have already pledged our lives to each other. Please let us be together. With that, Song Lihua walked out of the room. Song Minghua was startled as he didn't expect Song Lihua's attitude to be so aggressive. He then looked at Yang Dingtian with resentment and said coldly, Just you wait. I will make sure that you won't be able to walk out of the world society alive. Yang Dingtian ignored him. Let's go. Song Minghua left in anger. When they left, Yang Dingtian said with a serious expression, Get ready to kill Wu Maji immediately. Time is of the essence. Hurry, hurry. Chapter 435. Yang Dingtian. Are we just going to let Song Lihua face Song Shao alone? Qin Huayu asked worriedly. Yang Dingtian nodded. We have to let her hold Song Shao back. Otherwise, once he arrives, we won't be able to defeat him even if we work together. We won't be able to kill Wu Maji and the rest. Then, Yang Dingtian patted his shoulder. Don't worry, this lady is much more powerful than we thought. After a while, the window at the back of the room was opened, and a petite girl came in. She had a pretty face, but she purposely covered her face with dust and dressed as a servant. She placed a few bags of clothes on the table and said, I am third Mrs. Personal Servant. These are the clothes of the World Society's Demon Dragon Guards, change into them. First Miss will be waiting for you at the Zhu Pavilion. Third Miss was Song Lihua. After receiving the clothes, Yang Dingtian and the others quickly changed into them. Zhu Hongxue frowned, but still changed into the clothes. Little Princess Vulture pouted and changed into the clothes as well. The Demon Dragon Guards were trained by Song Chunhua. They were the most elite armed force in the entire world society, and also the warriors with the highest status in the society. Their warrior suits were completely covered in black armor. Even their faces were no exception. Then the little girl shushed them softly. Then, 3 men came in from outside. Without saying a word, they put on the clothes that Yang Dingtian and the rest changed out of. As for the little girl, she had changed into a vulture's outer skirt. Third Miss asked us to pretend to be the 4 of you and wait here. The little girl said, just in case, she was afraid that someone would come into the room to check. But you don't look like us. Little Princess Vulture said. Then her gaze fell on the little girl's chest. The little girl was young, but her chest was not small at all. On the contrary, it was very fierce. Vulture was very jealous, because she was a fake. Song Lihua's servant girl shrank back slightly from Vulture's stare. Then she said, Don't worry, there will be an army coming to arrest you on the orders of the sect master. This army is actually young Miss Men. Then we will be taken to a secret place and locked up. This way, there won't be any flaws. Yang Dingtian clicked his tongue. This Song Lihua was really flawless. Immediately, Yang Dingtian said to Qin Huayu, Now you know how powerful your future wife is. Qin Huayu nodded vigorously. Yang Dingtian and the other 3 donned the armor of the Demon Dragon Martial Guard and jumped out of the house through the window. Sure enough, Not long after Yang Dingtian left the hotel, a cavalry rushed down and entered the hotel to capture him. Not long after, the 4 people who impersonated Yang Dingtian were covered and escorted out of the city. Then, a person who was also wearing the armor of the Demon Dragon Martial Guard came forward and whispered to Yang Dingtian, "Follow me, young miss is waiting for you." "Who are you?" Yang Dingtian asked. "I am the direct descendant of the great commander," that person said. "Young miss asked me to tell you 4 words, Dark Eye Spirit. Then you will trust me. Lead the way." Yang Dingtian said directly. "Yes," that person said. Then, he mounted his horse and galloped towards the upper level of the city. Every level of the city was guarded by a city gate guard. The Mo Long martial guard who was leading the way flashed a token and passed through the checkpoint without any obstructions. Soon Yang Dingtian and the others arrived at the 8th level. They arrived at Zhuge. Zhuge sounded like a gentle place, but it was actually Song Chuanhua's residence. Although it was all red, it did not look like a boudoir at all. Instead, it was filled with sternness and might. At this time, Song Chunhua was not wearing her martial attire. She was wearing a more neutral brocade robe. Her long hair was tied up with a jade hairpin. She was still dressed like a man. However, it was already filled with a strange sense of beauty. At this time, she was supporting a beautiful middle-aged woman and talking to her. This beautiful woman should be Song Zhao's wife. After Yang Dingtian and the others entered Zhuge, they did not act rashly. Instead, they stood to the side. Song Chunhua quickly gave them a look and continued to talk to Madame Song. "Danan, you're the one I'm most worried about," Madame Song said with concern. "What's wrong with a woman fighting and killing? Marriage is the most important thing for a woman. A few years ago, there were people who came to propose marriage to you, but they were all rejected by you. Now no one dares to come. When you go home this time, don't worry about those things. I will let Danan dress you up properly. During this time, there will be many outstanding young people who will come to look for you. In short, if your marriage is not settled, don't even think about going out." Song Chunhua was more or less embarrassed when Yang Dingtian saw this scene. However, she could not refute and could only respond in silence. Danan is too feminine. She seduces men wherever she goes. It would be great if she gave half to you," Madame Song said. When Yang Dingtian heard this, he almost could not help but nod in agreement. At this time, a little girl in a tight outfit walked over and whispered in Song Chuanhua's ear. "Miss." Third Miss was taken to the ancestral spring by the sect master. He also sent Song Minghua to bring experts to capture City Lord Yang and the others. "Yes, I know," Song Chunhua said. Then she softly shouted, "Men, line up." Instantly, a group of demon dragon guards rushed in and lined up neatly. They directly drowned Yang Dingtian and the others in the middle. Madame Song was shocked and said, "Danan, what are you doing?" "Mother, rest well here," Song Chunhua said. Then, she gently waved her hand in front of her mother's face. Madame Song's face was full of shock, and she immediately fainted. "Help my mother to the bed," Song Chunhua said to the servant in tight outfit. "Yes." The servant carried Madame Song back to the room. Song Chunhua took the treasured sword and suddenly pulled it out, saying, "Under the orders of the sect master, we are to exterminate evil ways." "Yes," over 100 demon dragon guards shouted. Then, like a dark sword, they quickly rushed to the Phoenix Ritual Pavilion in the western corner. The Phoenix Ritual Pavilion was the World Society's VIP pavilion. Only the most distinguished guests would be arranged to stay in the Phoenix Ritual Pavilion. At this time, the entire Phoenix Ritual Pavilion was guarded by the guards brought by Wu Maji. These warriors were all very unique. Almost all of them wore strange armor and had headscarves on their heads. Their skin color and eyes were all foreign races. Wu Maji could be considered to be very domineering after she moved into the Phoenix Ritual Pavilion. When she moved into the Phoenix Ritual Pavilion, she immediately chased out the people from the World Society and used her own people from the inside to the outside. This time, other than the 4 elder-level experts, she also brought several hundred martial warriors to visit the World Society. Seeing Song Chunhua appear, the Ning clan warriors outside the Phoenix Ritual Pavilion coldly said, "This is the Ning clan's encampment in the South Sea. Unrelated people, leave immediately. Otherwise, you will be killed without mercy." Song Chunhua looked down and found 3 corpses at the door. They were actually the World Society's servants. They were holding various kinds of fruits, which were now broken into pieces on the ground. Song Chunhua was instantly enraged. The Ning clan was actually so domineering. These 3 servants were sent by Madame Song to deliver fresh fruits to Wu Maji. Madame Song was a typical woman. When she heard that Wu Maji brought her own food and necessities, after moving into the Phoenix Ritual Pavilion, she immediately felt embarrassed. She felt that it was against her hospitality, so she sent people to deliver fruits unique to the World Society. However, she did not expect that these 3 servants would be killed at the door. "Beast," Song Chunhua said coldly and walked over. The Ning clan guards at the door drew their scimitars and attacked Song Chunhua without any explanation. Song Chunhua slashed down with her sword. Swoosh! The leading Ning clan warrior was instantly split in half. Good and evil cannot coexist. Under the orders of the sect master, we are to exterminate evil ways. Song Chunhua ordered coldly, "Kill everyone inside. Don't leave a single person, chicken or dog alive." Yes. Hundreds of demon dragon guards drew their giant swords and charged at the Ning clan warriors. Song Chunhua took the lead, and Yang Dingtian and the others followed closely behind. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Yang Dingtian's sword was as fast as lightning, stabbing at the Ning clan warriors. The sword he stabbed looked light and graceful. The bodies of those who were pierced would explode into 2 halves, and all of them died without a complete corpse. How shocking was the attack of 3 Grandmaster stage powerhouses. It was like slaughtering pigs and dogs. In just a moment, nearly half of the Ning clan warriors were killed. However, the one who killed the most was not Yang Dingtian or Song Chunhua, but Zhu Hongxue. Zhu Hongxue was a proud and conceited god's favored son. He had been suppressing his anger for a long time, and now was the perfect time to vent it. He was really like a tiger in a flock of sheep. Wherever he passed, not to mention dying without a complete corpse, all were smashed into pieces. But strangely Wu Maji, who lived in the Phoenix Ritual Pavilion, did not react at all when Song Chunhua went on a killing spree. And these Ning clan warriors were really not afraid of death. They actually rushed forward one after another. However, their bravery was useless. Yang Dingtian's group of 5 was truly too incisive. In just a few minutes, all of the Ning clan's martial artists had been wiped out. Suddenly, the entire Phoenix Ritual Pavilion was covered in blood. At this moment Wu Maji finally appeared. Her bewitching big eyes faintly swept across the hundreds of Ning clan warriors' corpses on the ground. She did not react at all, as if the dead were just pigs and dogs, or even worse than pigs and dogs. Then she looked at Song Chunhua with her beautiful eyes and said, "Is this a desperate situation? It's useless. It's only because your world society still has some value that I made this trip. Otherwise, it wouldn't take much effort to annihilate the entire world association. Kill them all and take her down," Wu Maji ordered. "Yes." The 4 elders behind her bowed and said. Then the 4 of them took out their weapons. All of them were jet black snake staffs. Whoosh! Suddenly, a ball of black fog appeared, and the 4 elders directly disappeared. Then, they appeared in front of Yang Dingtian, and the others in the blink of an eye. Whoosh! Then a ball of black fog flew out. Suddenly, more than 10 Emo dragon martial guards let out shrill screams. They threw away their weapons and frantically scratched their faces and bodies. Then in a moment, their bodies completely melted, turning into a pool of disgusting pus. Highly toxic. The black fog released by the 4 Ning clan elders was highly toxic. Yang Dingtian and the others Xianqi shook violently. Boom! Suddenly, all the Emo dragon martial guards around them were sent flying. The next battle was not something they could participate in. Whoosh! The 4 Ning clan elders' clothes suddenly turned into a ball of black fog in the shape of a poisonous snake. They quickly surrounded Yang Dingtian and the others, completely surrounding them. Boom! Song Chunhua suddenly released the phoenix heavenly fire. Suddenly, flames shot out from all four directions, completely engulfing the black fog. This highly toxic black fog should be afraid of the Xian fire, with such an amazing temperature. It should be burned to ashes. But the truth had given Yang Dingtian and the others a huge shock. The phoenix heavenly fire was indeed terrifying. It directly burned the highly toxic black fog. However, after burning, the highly toxic black fog actually emitted a black-red light and turned into a highly toxic fire dragon. It was even more powerful and rushed towards Yang Dingtian and the others. Xianqi shield, Yang Dingtian ordered. Suddenly, everyone fiercely circulated their Xianqi and burst out, turning into a huge Xianqi shield. However, something even more terrible happened. This highly toxic black fog, layer by layer, contaminated the Xianqi shield. It could not pass through the Xianqi shield, but it contaminated the Xianqi shield bit by bit, filling the entire Xianqi shield with highly toxic poison. Then, this highly toxic poison quickly and fiercely spread towards Yang Dingtian and the others. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's heart was extremely shocked. They had 3 strong masters. Zhu Hongxue was also similar to a master, and the little girl was a celestial spirit master. Unexpectedly, they were forced into a desperate situation by the 4 Ning clan elders. This Ning clan of the South Sea was indeed strange. Yang Dingtian had already seen that none of the 4 elders was a master, but the poison they emitted was indeed like a bug. This highly toxic poison, inch by inch, spread quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it was about to enter their bodies. Kacha kacha kacha! The little princess vulture, as a celestial spirit master, finally made a move. Suddenly, all the stones on the ground were crushed, and then instantly condensed into a stone shield, protecting Yang Dingtian and the others. This highly toxic black fog could contaminate Xianqi and energy, but it could not contaminate ordinary materials. However, something terrible happened. This stone shield was corroded inch by inch, melting inch by inch, and turned into a disgusting green liquid. What kind of poison was this? The entire stone shield was about to collapse in an instant. Zhu Hongxue immediately released the thunderous shield, protecting all 5 of them. However, the highly toxic Xianqi was corroding the thunderous shield inch by inch, swallowing it. Whoosh! Yang Dingtian called out the demon spirit heavenly fire and released an ice shield. Of course, because he did not have Yin-Xian meridians, this ice shield could only be maintained for a very short time. Whoosh! The ice shield of the demon spirit heavenly fire was indeed powerful. It instantly froze the highly toxic black fog. Of course, the highly toxic black fog was still permeating and contaminating. However, it was much slower than before. Attack, kill them! Yang Dingtian ordered. Then, the few of them drew their swords in the air, and the sword aura directly pierced towards the 3 poison elders. That's right, their speed was divided, and they turned into a black shadow. However, this speed was nothing in front of Yang Dingtian, and he could easily hit them. However, something strange happened again. The energy of the rapidly shooting sword aura was actually eaten by the highly toxic Xianqi, and directly turned into highly toxic poison, softly shooting towards the 3 poison elders. The 3 of them were safe and sound. Then these 3 highly toxic sword aura were directly reflected back. Bang! Almost in the blink of an eye, Yang Dingtian's ice shield was directly shattered. The highly toxic black fog was still crazily spreading. There was no other way. Yang Dingtian did not have Yin-Xian meridians, so this ice shield could not last for long. Whoosh! Yang Dingtian hurriedly summoned another ice shield. Then, the little princess vulture frantically condensed stone powder to build a jade shield. Damn! What the hell was this highly toxic Xianqi? It was actually so heaven-defying. So abnormal? There was no solution at all. Yang Dingtian, don't worry, I won't kill you. However, I will bestow Song Chunhua to these 4 poison elders. I believe they will be very happy. Wu Maji lightly sneered. In your dreams? Yang Dingtian sneered. You have no solution for this highly toxic poison. Yes, you have master-level experts, but facing this highly toxic poison, even great master-level experts have no solution, let alone you? Wu Maji lightly sneered. Frogs at the bottom of a well, laughable and despicable. In a while, I will let you see with your own eyes how Song Chunhua, who was dragged down by you, will be ravaged and tortured by these 4 poison elders. I will let everyone see clearly the fate of following Yang Dingtian. Your Yang Dingtian's talent is amazing, but what did that count for? In front of my Ning clan, your so-called talent is nothing. Just these 4 poison elders are enough to put you in a desperate situation. Don't waste time. It has never been used. There is no solution. In front of my Ning clan, you are nothing. Whoosh! After Yang Dingtian summoned the last ice shield, he quickly used the invisibility mystic skill and immediately surrounded himself with an isolated space. Immediately after, he rushed out of the poisonous fog like lightning. That's right, this extremely terrifying poison could corrode all energy and all objects. However, it could not corrode the isolated space. In the isolated space, Yang Dingtian passed through the poisonous fog and was safe and sound. Time was of the essence. After rushing out of the poisonous fog, whoosh whoosh whoosh, Yang Dingtian quickly appeared behind the 4 poison elders. Like lightning, the fledgling soared. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, the 4 poison elders were smashed into pieces and died. Damn it, these 4 damn things. When they were powerful, they were almost undefeatable. When they were weak, they were like a ball of paper. In a blink of an eye, they were all killed by Yang Dingtian. Boom! Yang Dingtian summoned the mystic fire and instantly burned the corpses of the 4 poison elders to ashes. In an instant, all the poisonous fog disappeared. The entire Fingy Pavilion regained its clarity. Impossible! Wu Maji exclaimed and said, "How did you come out? How did you break through this highly toxic Xian fog? Even a great master could not break it. How did you break it?" "Kill her," Yang Dingtian directly ordered. Immediately, without any warning, Yang Dingtian and the other 4 pounced on Wu Maji like lightning. 3 masters, 1 near master, and 1 celestial spirit master. Wu Maji was only a few years old. No matter how high her cultivation was, she could not escape. Seeing Yang Dingtian and the other 4 pouncing over, Wu Maji's beautiful eyes flashed with a cold sneer. 5 swords pierced towards Wu Maji like lightning, about to completely dismember her. Whoosh! Almost instantly, she disappeared on the spot. That's right, she disappeared directly. Then, she appeared a few hundred meters away. Demonic spirit mist cloak. Little Princess Vulture exclaimed. That's right, it was the demonic spirit mist cloak. After evil ways mastered the method of easily killing demonic spirits, they must have obtained a lot of demonic spirit corpses and made the demonic spirit mist cloak. It turned out that she was wearing it. Little girl, chase after her, Yang Dingtian ordered, because the little girl also had the demonic spirit mist. Okay, watch me. Then the little girl also flashed and stabbed towards Wu Maji. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Immediately, the 2 of them used the flash technique. They suddenly disappeared and reappeared in the Fingy Pavilion. However, Wu Maji could not shake off Vulture's pursuit. Vulture was constantly sending messages to Yang Dingtian. So Yang Dingtian and the others quickly intercepted Wu Maji at the place where she was about to appear. Suddenly, Wu Maji became dangerous. Although she could still escape, it was getting more and more dangerous. "Which your death is near," Song Chunhua said. Yang Dingtian's group of 5 instantly surrounded Wu Maji and drew their swords in unison, wanting to dismember her. "That's not necessarily true," Wu Maji sneered. Suddenly, she turned around abruptly, and her beautiful eyes emitted a soul-sucking light that pierced into Vulture's pupils. In an instant, the little Princess Vulture was dazed and temporarily lost her mind. She waved her sharp sword and flashed towards Song Chunhua. Then, Wu Maji suddenly flashed in front of Yang Dingtian. Hiss! 5 claw-like things slashed across his chest. Yang Dingtian quickly blocked and dodged. Whoosh! Wu Maji disappeared again. Ah! Then, Yang Dingtian felt a burning pain on his back. He had been swept by Wu Maji's demonic spirit claws. Haha! Wu Maji mocked. Yang Dingtian, you can't kill me, right? You're nothing in front of me. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Then, Wu Maji attacked like lightning. She directly scratched Qin Huayu, Zhu Hongxue, and Song Chunhua until they were dripping with blood. Then, she immediately used the demonic spirit mist cloak to flash away. After using the demon spirit eye to confuse the little girl, she was actually able to easily maneuver among the several experts and gain the upper hand. Not only did she hurt them, but she also repeatedly mocked them. Yang Dingtian, you're really nothing. Surrender early and give your wife and father-in-law to our young master. Maybe you can still drag out an ignoble existence with a green hat. Haha. Swoosh. Wu Maji's sharp claws slashed towards Yang Dingtian's eyes. Whoosh. A few streaks of blood appeared on Yang Dingtian's face. Whoosh. The demoness was about to flash away again. You want to leave? Not so easy. Yang Dingtian sneered. He suddenly used the demonic spirit demon fire's icebound technique. In an instant, the demoness was frozen. Yang Dingtian stabbed her with his sword. Blood splattered everywhere. Wu Maji suddenly let out a miserable cry. Her entire right chest was pierced through by Yang Dingtian's sword. Yes, Yang Dingtian did not have Yin meridians, so the icebound technique was not strong enough. However, it only needed to freeze her for a moment. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.